Sports Radio.
All guests appear on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Hotline. Goldberg-law.com.
Yes! Oh, I like
It's up to you now. It's up to you.
I like it.
Now,
Show just got
the
easy.
best local sports show
about
this
that?
town has ever heard. Here's Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton on this Thursday, the day before Valentine's Day. I figure I'd give you
Nice public service announcement, David.
lazy,
Nice public service announcement. I like that a lot better than the weather.
thoughtless guys out there as much notice as possible to get your act together. You've got to get this one right. Whatever right is, by the way. Right can be the lady in your life or the person in your life going, I don't want anything. Let's not spend money. Okay. Whatever right is, just get it right.
You know, though, that in and of itself is an interesting dilemma, what you just talked about. Even if the person in your life says they want nothing.
Right.
Because my wife and I, after a very fun December, have put a spending freeze on this household.
Okay.
One credit card bill that said, damn!
That's all the statement said, by the way.
It didn't even have a
Damn
number.
with an
It just
exclamation point.
Damn!
Minimum payment, more than you think. Right.
Double the normal one.
Right. Add minimum payment, add a zero.
And I have not carried over a credit card bill in about 5 years. So we hunkered down and got it.
Hunkered.
But it was
Some hunkering, huh?
right. I mean, I felt like a Georgia lineman for crying out loud. Hunkered down, you hairy dog.
Didn't
you.
realize Sam Pittman was still walking around the household
Well,
here.
he did a little, he went woo pig suey for that one. But we have put on a halt. So twice this week, my wife has said to me, so we're not getting anything for Valentine's Day, right? I said, yeah. But I can't.
Sure you can.
I got to get flowers.
Okay, yeah, but that's just...
I mean, you know what happens out of this? You know what I get? Bubkas. She gets flowers, makes
Well-
her happy. What do I get? Bubkas.
Well, not necessarily.
Well,
Not necessarily.
Unless they're the right kind of flowers.
But it's just important to get it right. If this is one of those Valentine's days in which your wife apparently is like, listen, we need to be budget conscious. It's Valentine's Day. We're going to lay low, right? We're going to eat at home or whatever the case may be. We don't need to spend money on one another. We're good. We did a lot of that 2 months ago. That's fine. There you go. You got your scouting report. Here's the important thing about the scouting report. You have to be able to decode it.
That in right there is the most important thing you have perhaps ever said on this show. Decoding the gift regimen, whatever it may be, because you have to. This is key, David.
Here's the deal. You have to be the Houston Astros. All right? You've been getting signs for a while now. And you've got
Wait
to
a
decode
minute.
them.
Did you just
You've gotta
refer
be-
to Valentine's Day
Yes.
as the Houston Astros?
No. Not the Valentine's Day. Us. We have to be the Astros. We have to decode the signs.
Damn, I didn't know where to put the cameras.
We've been getting signs. We've got one right here, right smack dab in the middle of the room. Okay, you got a garbage can? Start. You know what that means? Hey. Steady banging of the garbage can means you got to get a gift. Okay? If you're hearing the garbage can a lot, that means you've got to get a gift. Right. And that's a reminder. Hey, get a gift by tomorrow.
You know, I can't believe that thing's been sitting there that long, and I have not banged the garbage can on the air.
I can't believe there's a hammer in the room. That's what
Well,
I
that was
can't
to hang
believe.
up the Fox Sports Net neon, which is still on the desk. The
It
two
is.
nails are on the
I
table,
love it.
and the hammer's there. Been that way for about 10 days.
Spread out in 3 different locations. We're just about ready to get this room right. So that's what I feel this week is. Guys, you've got to be the Astros. You've got to decode the signs. Is it fastball? Fastball means, hey, you got to come up with something. All right? It's a normal Valentine's Day. May even be an above-average Valentine's Day. You need to come through. The drum is being banged. You got to come through. All right? Now, then there's the, like your wife threw at you in which she said, "We're not getting each other anything for Valentine's Day, right?"
Right.
See, that's an off-speed pitch. That's unusual. Usually Valentine's Day in this household is go time. That's we're taking 2020 off, right? And the voice and everything indicated, all right, this is straight change is
Off-speed
what
pitch.
this is. Right. And maybe in 2021 we go back to fastball. So it's important. You got to be the Astros. You got to get it right. Now, I don't know where the buzzer comes in. I really don't.
Just received a text from someone that may sleep with you.
Occasionally.
You get to take her out, and yes, you get nothing. She gave you a child.
Right. See? You know what?
There was an LOL, but it's a lot better read without the LOL. I've got to be honest. It's a lot better read. And I know
It is.
she's listening. I don't want to get her upset with me.
Oh,
but
no,
it was
knock
a better,
yourself out.
It was a better read without the LOL.
No, it'd be great, Mark. I'm leaving town for 3 days. Honk her off as much as you can. Really. Okay? I mean,
That's right. You're going to party with Kid Rock in Nashville, aren't you?
that's right. Something like that in and around 4 FGCU broadcasts. You bet I am. So, they bring that one up from time to time, and let's face it, we got nothing for that. We got nothing
I don't know.
for
I
that.
participated.
All right, you did, but not as much as they participated.
No, but that's not my fault. I was willing to participate more. I'm just not allowed to.
Right, listen, we did all that we
We're able to. Right, all that we were able to.
Push. I mean, we did all we could, but
Have you given her the shot yet?
okay, fine. Now give me one. But you just have to decode it. That's all. You just have to play the Houston Astros.
I got to shut the front door already from somebody.
So there you go. It's the day before Valentine's Day. We're giving you a heads up.
And
We're
we
gonna
are
try-
the Houston Astros
Yes.
of Valentine's Day decoding. So
Yes.
any problems that you've had, text them in.
Yes.
Hell, today, David, we'll take calls. If you actually, because we've got tomorrow off and we've got Monday off.
Right.
And I can't tell you how excited I am about both of those things.
I know you are. I know you are.
But if you have decoding problems that you want to bring to our attention today that you think need voice,
Feel free to text us.
or call
2498.
2498. Very rarely do we open up the Williamson Brothers Marine talk line. The text line open 24/7.
I don't know if Jero's ever taken a phone call. All right.
Well,
I don't know if he has.
about time to start.
Why,
About time.
Why are you doing this to him?
About
He's getting
ti-
a few days off, too. He was all excited about the
It's
show.
look at
Now you're throwing
he's
phone calls
the one,
at him.
We wouldn't be taking days off if it weren't for him.
No, Jero, actually, we're very grateful.
We are incredibly grateful, but at the same time, you're going to have to work for these extra days.
Not if it was my call, Jero. This is
By
all
the way,
him.
I want everybody to understand what the hell's going on right now. I am asking for phone calls, and David is going, I don't know.
I'm just...
You know what?
I'm
I don't
sympathetic to Jero. All right, he's new. All right, he seems to be warming up to us. It's not often that you get somebody to agree to get up at this godforsaken hour for as little money as he's getting paid. So I want to
there
keep
is no
him
doubt
around.
there. There is no doubt there.
I want to keep him around. So that's why I don't want to put
Hovering,
too much.
Miller and Moulton and Giro hovering above the poverty line.
Yes, the three of us are. So 249-8167. If you need help decoding, we're the Astros. All right, we're the Astros. We will let you know what it is that the special someone in your life really means, and whether or not it's fastball or it's off-speed pitch for Valentine's Day. 249-8167. You came up with a good idea, I thought, before the show. We did about 90 seconds of show prep today, which is a lot.
I mean, and astonishing given the fact that I walked up here at about 10 to 6.
You did. And you were quiet. And so I sensed you were dragging a little bit, so I gave you some time. I just worked here in silence. And then I turned to you at about 5:59, and I said, what are you thinking of?
Well, yesterday I happened to watch a video of this golf hole in Australia. Really cool par 5. Happened to just be on Twitter. I'm like, oh, this spot, unusual hole. And so it was a Barstool video, and the guy hits his drive. I didn't have the sound on. And then they, pan out and they walk to the fairway and he's in a divot. And I started kind of laughing. I don't think there is a more absurd rule in sports than hitting your ball perfectly down the fairway where you are supposed to and being penalized for being inside of a divot. I don't know if there's a worse rule in sports than that. I think that should be a free drop.
Yeah, I think golf has rules that are worse, but I think it's in the
Well,
top five.
I know you don't like the whole. There's some.
The designated signing area really bothers me.
Yes, but that has zero to do with the game.
I
And it doesn't affect you and I playing the game.
Well, that's true.
That's the only reason why I don't really include that.
I mean, unless they take the 19th hole in the clubhouse, if that's no longer a designated signing area, then we're all in trouble.
It's a great point. Valid.
Don't know what the USGA is threatening to do there.
But I just started thinking and I have my little notes in my phone here where I write down things for the show. I actually do.
What?
Yeah.
You take notes throughout the day?
If I think of something that I want to remember. David, I'm getting older. I forget things constantly.
Huh. Good for you.
So I just simply wrote down dumbest rule in sports. And I put hitting from a divot underneath so it would remind me what I was talking about. And I'm sure there are others that you have, that our listeners have. I think it could be a poll question. I think it could be what you like to refer to back in the day as a theme show. And I know those get you very excited. Nobody likes a theme show quite like David Moulton.
As long as it's a good theme.
Well, you seemed like at 5:59 this was a halfway decent theme.
Well, I love the subject matter. I have to admit, the hour of the day, though, this is a decent amount of thought for this early in the day.
So I should have texted this to you yesterday?
No, this is
giving
fine.
you something to sleep on?
I got a great night's sleep. I got 7 hours sleep. This is as good as I've felt in a long time. So I'm ready for this. I am. I have always thought that the divot thing is absurd. Why am I being penalized for hitting a ball in the fairway?
When
It's
you
a
can
joke.
hit a ball all over the lot,
Right.
and sometimes get you can work golf rules to your advantage. It is a sport where there are certain ways to manipulate the rules, quite frankly.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, the guy who won the Pebble Beach, he hit one left. I think it was on 13, and he was struggling, and he just, caught a break. It hit a spectator, and it was just near where all of a sudden he was able to stand in a way in which he made sure he got that heel standing on a certain piece of pavement, and he was able to drop it just a few inches further away, but it gave him a much better lie, and he had the perfect angle, and it helped get him back on track. So, yeah, there's no doubt. But I think you should be able to just take it out of the divot and move it and place it. I do, right there. I mean, no closer to the hole, but just take it out of the divot and move it 2 inches, and there you go. No, that's ridiculous.
I just think I think in a sport where perfection is demanded of you, when you do it right and you're penalized for it, I don't like that. So that was the one that came to me off the get-go.
That's simple.
Now, I don't know in stick and ball sports if it's just that easy. But I do think everybody has, for the longest time, people on this show, when we would do something, like go, why do we have to throw 4 pitches for an intentional walk?
Right. Why couldn't we just put up 4 fingers?
And we did.
And a couple years ago, they said, you know what?
This is a pain in the butt.
You guys are right. Why don't we just put up 4 fingers and move this thing along? So basically, give us a rule that you would change.
That's all.
Is that what you're saying?
If you were the sports czar
Right.
for the day, which is a title you've always wanted.
I wouldn't mind being a commissioner. There's no question about it. No, there's no doubt. I like authority. I mean, I don't have any. That's why I would like. I've never had any. So, I don't think sports director really counts as authority.
No. No. Because did you have like 1 or 2 people that were, were you the boss of the rest of the sports department?
Mark, in my heyday at Waterman Broadcasting, we had a sports department of 5.
Oh, so you were in charge of the whole thing, ABC and
NBC. Yes, I was. When Jay Severson left, they put me in charge of both. They made it sound like it was a really big deal.
Were you really in charge of anyone?
No, I was. I had to do schedules, and I actually had to plan out what stories we would do. These stories for NBC, these stories for ABC. So, in other words, if it was a story
That was important, you gave it to NBC.
Well, of course, because that was the station people watched.
Right.
You know, the ABC, we were just filling
A lot of
time.
local.
We were filling time in between commercials.
Yeah, you had to get ready for whatever you aired at 7.
Yeah, I was just filling time before Peter Jennings. That's all.
And then Peter just filled time before that hour you made money.
One more look at the weather. Jim, what do you have? Right. That's all. That's what my job was. So, yeah, I'd love some authority here.
249-8167. What rule would you change? Just to get the ball rolling.
Here's one I would in the NFL. I hate the fact that challenges are limited. Because to me, if the officials are having a bad day, why should I be penalized?
Well, and that I would go greater than that for the NFL. If I could change one rule in the NFL, I would simply say you're going to use the college replay system. I would trump you, and you and I have both been for that forever. And the ironic thing is that Mike Pereira's not.
No.
I mean, that's what blew me away. I was so excited when David let me tag along on a weekend. And Pereira's a really nice guy. I mean, he is definitely a guy you want to hang out with. He attracts a crowd. He's interesting. He's opinionated. But when I asked him, what do you like better, the Saturday or the Sunday replay, he just kind of said he liked parts of both. He middled it. And I was stunned because there's nothing about Sundays that's better than what they do on Saturdays when it comes to replay, in my personal opinion. Saturdays figured it out. Sundays make a mess of it. And they made such a mess of it that they put a new rule in that they're going to take out this year.
Which made a bigger mess of it.
Right, and they're going to take that rule out. Like, this is easy. This is ego getting in the way of what the right thing to do is. I don't think the NFL ever wants to admit that Saturdays do something better than Sundays outside of tailgate.
And Green Bay and Kansas City have put their hands up to say, we will contest that. Everyone else get in line. Buffalo may be a solid third in the tailgating perspective. 249-8167. Give us the one thing in sport that you would change. A rule. A rule. Give us a rule that you would change. Mark's nominee is, listen, you hit the ball in the fairway, it's in a divot. You take the ball out of the divot. Come on. And I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I really do. I got one for tennis that I've thrown out there many times.
I was actually trying to think of something for that sport because I think they do a pretty good job. Now that the replay's been put in the way that it has, I think they've got their game going pretty well.
I do as well. And now that they're enforcing also the 25 seconds in between points, I like that also. I have always felt, and it has reared its head probably 3 times this century, actually, at Wimbledon. I think Wimbledon needs to change something because they don't do, although now they do some sort of 5th set tiebreaker, but you've got to play to what, 12?
Think you're right.
10 or 12? I think it's 12. The Djokovic and Federer last year, I think, were 12 all, and then they went to a tiebreak. I do like Australian Open, by the way, does tiebreakers to 10.
Just in the 5th set.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of the tiebreaks
right.
are the same way they always are. I'm with you there.
The 5th set tiebreaker to 10 is interesting. I've always felt that, because up until 6-6, everybody's alternating. And then, see, to me, I don't think you should get to continue to serve first once you get to 6 all. At the very least, I think once you get to 9 all,
it should
flip the other way around. I think it's too big of an advantage that the person who's serving second in the set, in theory, from once they get to 5-6, every single time, basically, a break point's match point. I just think that that's too much. Why? Too much happenstance over the first 3 hours that now all this pressure's on you. Federer and Roddick played a 16-14 5th set. I thought it was unfair to Roddick that he had to serve 8 consecutive times with the match on his racket. Thought that was ridiculous. Same thing when Djokovic and Federer did the tiebreaker this time around. I just thought it was a bit unfair. So that's only to Wimbledon, and it's only in a 5th set breaker, but I think they need to change that. Miller and Moulton. So give us the sports rule you'd like to change. 249-8167, 249-8167. We have a hell of a show lined up for you.
We really do.
I mean, this isn't false advertising.
No.
Joey Logano is going to join us in an hour.
Sliced bread? My guy. Odds are, if he comes on the show, he'll win the 500.
Well, he's been on.
He's been on twice, but he was on before his first and only 500 win, right?
Right. He came on in 2015, and he won the 500. Right. And he came on, I think it was last year, and he finished 4th. So every time he's come on the show, he's had a top 5 in the Daytona 500. He runs well there. We'll talk to him in an hour. Bob Papa.
You know, he argues with people, not Bob Papa.
Joey Logano.
Yeah.
He argues with teammates.
Everybody.
How could you not like him? How could you not like him?
Found out yesterday, you sent me a text that this was done, and I went to my NASCAR expert for questions.
Your son?
And his roommate. And I mean, my phone blew up. They had more fun sending questions than I've ever seen. So
You going to use some of them?
yeah, there's
All right.
apparently some new package that they're using driving that I knew nothing about, and I'm like, all right.
A new package?
Yeah, anytime you get a new package involved,
Well, especially if you're a middle-aged guy.
right before Valentine's Day, who doesn't want a new package?
Who doesn't want a new package? Who couldn't use a new
This
package?
monologue brought to you by C4MH.
BlueChew.com.
Oh, I can't wait to do those reads.
Oh, yeah, they may
Look
be coming
out,
on board.
everybody.
That's when you know you've made it.
Look out for the live read starting next week, gang.
Yep, there's a chance that we're going down a different road than we've ever gone down before, and that's when you know you've made it
Yep.
as a sports talk show when you start doing those live reads. But
As
Joey
the late
Logano,
Joe Scott used to say.
well, here we are. Make sure you follow our lineup of cocks, jocks, and stocks. It's the funniest thing. Honestly, it's one of the 5 funniest things I've ever heard on radio.
I got to break that down for you. The late Joe Scott, if you are new to this area, you don't know who he is. Joe Scott was a very funny man. Joe Scott
Yes.
had a lot of demons. And I love Joe. I met
He
him
was
late.
good to us.
I met him late. Joe, I always will respect Joe. I got fired from the Everblades. And
You got fired by the Everblades? That's a
and the
joke.
story was in the paper.
You know, it's almost 15 years
Right.
to the day.
But the first call that I received when that was in the paper was from Joe Scott. Joe called me and said, "What happened, man?" And, and just basically called me to cheer me up, even though I didn't really need it.
Because he said, hey, man, been there.
Right. And he's like, "You're good. You'll do fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it." And I will always remember Joe Scott for that above everything else, because there were a lot of good and a lot of bad about that guy, but he had a heart of gold. And Joe had been fired and fired.
Joe was on the comeback trail, and they stuck him on mornings on AM 770.
Yeah, in the closet.
Right. The asbestos closet, as we refer to it, because that's basically what the studio was. And Joe did mornings. And
right after Joe's show
and then
was
there
a penile enhancement.
There was Neil Rogers simulcast at a QAM in Miami, but the afternoon lineup, he said, and this was all Joe's creation, he goes, make sure you listen to AM 770 weekday afternoons for our award-winning lineup of cocks, jocks, and stocks. And that's
a penile enhancement show.
From 1 to 2 before me, 2 to 4, followed by a stock show on the East Coast at 4 o'clock.
Yep. That was the lineup of the first original sports station before it had gone all sports.
Right, that was right.
Joe Scott, Neil Rogers, a penile enhancement show, David Moulton, followed by a stock show.
Right, so make sure you listen to our award-winning afternoon lineup of cocks, jocks, and stocks.
This is Miller and Moulton. And
brought to you by BlueChew.com.
You're darn right. Freebie for those folks. I don't know what the code is.
I don't even know what the product is.
Well, it's blue and you chew it.
Well,
that's all we know. More to come in March.
I was going to say, so was a Flintstone vitamin back in the day, but that's another story.
Which one was blue? What rule do you want to change? A terrific show lined up.
Yeah, can we get back to that?
Joey
Bob
Logano.
Papa.
Bob Papa.
And then Sammy Watkins will join us. 7:30, 8, and
Super
8:25.
Bowl champion.
That's right.
Sammy Watkins, South Fort Myers grad.
Hometown kid making good. He's going to be the Grand Marshal of the Festival of Light Parade Saturday night in downtown Fort Myers. And he's kind enough to give us a few minutes of his time coming up at around 8:25. So a great lineup. And we also have $50 gift cards to the Pewter Mug in Naples.
Hot steaming deal.
So if you've
Enjoy the salad bar.
If you've totally loused up Valentine's Day, maybe we can come to the rescue. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for waking up with us. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
NASCAR kicks
You're
off
clear.
for the
Stock.
2020 season with
Cock,
a 60-second
Cock,
annual
jocks,
Daytona
and
500,
stock.
and you can get flag
Hey,
to
hold on,
flag
guys.
coverage
Just have one question.
exclusively on Southwest
On the
Florida's
interview,
Fox
right at
Sports
the end
Radio.
of it, I just go
200
ahead and go
times
into
around the
commercials?
2.5
Yes, sir.
mile track where the
Okay,
winner
thank you.
becomes
Yes, sir.
a Daytona 500 champion. It's the Great American Race. Get it live this Sunday at 1:30 on Fox Sports Radio and foxsportsfm.com.
Save up to $5 on Medicare Part D copays when Walgreens is your preferred pharmacy. Copay savings.
I know
on
you're
two
thinking
generic
Bam Bam
drugs available
with
through
that blue
select
vitamin,
plans
but I
that
think
include
David's out on a
Walgreens
limb
as
there.
preferred
I had
pharmacy.
many a Flintstone vitamin, and I don't remember anything being blue.
I do.
I remember a purple.
There was a purple. Love the purple. There was an orange. There was a red.
Right. There was a blue?
I thought there was a blue, but maybe I was thinking of the purple.
In fact, safe drivers can save 40% or more.
And he's saying it's Bam Bam.
Okay.
I'm not. It's way too early to have this type of Flintstone vitamin argument. But I do want to let you know, I don't think there was a blue. So I have to now Google it, Chuck.
Google me,
Need a new
Chuck.
phone? The
Google me.
universe is on your side. Right now at Walmart Family Mobile, you can get a Samsung Galaxy J2 Core for just $29.88 when you
Only
activate
place
a new
I could
plan
get
in
Flintstone
store.
vitamins,
We're talking
my
the lowest
grandmother
priced
just passed
unlimited
away.
plans powered
She
by
had 'em
T-Mobile's
at
nationwide
the house.
4G
Loved 'em.
LTE network.
All
It's
right,
not
here we go.
rocket science. Switch
Oh,
to
this is
Walmart
big.
Family Mobile and start
Doing some
saving today.
investigation.
Only in the electronics department at Walmart. Phones and plans
I'm
sold
seeing
separately.
purple,
See
red,
terms
and yellow.
conditions at myfamilymobile.com.
For professional roofing, the
Good
name you
image
need
here.
to know is D.R. Martineau.
Oh, wait a minute.
Owner of DR
That's
Martineau
blue.
Roofing
Wilma.
in Southwest Florida.
Wilma
Still
was
finding
blue.
a lot of
Wilma.
roofs that came in
Wilma.
Winston. Call us today for a free inspection. Google DRM Roofing or call 239-332-1441.
License number CCC 1326954.
For professional roofing.
So for those of you online, I want to let you know I made a bourbon switch. Was recommended to 1792 bourbon, and if you're a bourbon drinker, it's a really good recommendation.
FoxSportsFM.com.
What were you drinking?
Woodford Reserve is my go-to bourbon.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I switched it up.
Didn't they sponsor the Derby?
They do sponsor the Derby. I have an actual they do a special Derby bottle every year that a friend of mine brought to the Derby party, and I will not drink it. This one here, the Jim Beam bourbon. My Aunt Renee gave me this. Her stepson cracked this and opened this and drank this.
Wednesday is trivia and live music on the patio. Every Thursday,
that'd be
National
worth about
Comedians take the
$1,000
stage.
otherwise.
Then dance the weekend away with live music on the patio. Check Anthony's on the
Bordeaux family for you.
BLBD.net or like them on Facebook for event updates. Anthony's popular daily lunch, only $9 with free beer or soft drink. Many items to choose from. Plus Anthony's best Sunday breakfast buffet served from 8 to 1 with made-to-order omelet station and free coffee. Anthony's on the Boulevard, 1303 Del Prado Boulevard South. Call 772-5900 or sign up at anthonysontheboulevard.net to receive a free breakfast buffet.
Hey, this is Adam Botana from Baywater Exclusive Boat Club, the only family-owned and operated boat club in Southwest Florida. At Baywater, we have a contractual 10-to-1 member-to-boat ratio. That gives you unlimited access to over 40 of our boats.
Jim
Whether
Beam,
you're
huh?
fishing or just cruising.
Beam me up,
Baywater
Scotty.
has
I
you
want to
covered.
do the.
And
I need to
folks,
do the whiskey
water's
trail
beautiful,
so
and
badly.
it's only getting better, and the fish are biting.
Listening
Come on
to
out. Want to
Can't
keep the
do
boats
that anymore.
overnight? At
No, there's a
Baywater, anything is
tour like you go to
possible.
Kentucky.
This
Yeah,
week,
apparently
we're
really
holding
cool.
an
I
open
can't handle
house
it anymore.
and running special
Listened to the comedian
pricing
yesterday.
and no dues for 6
And he's
months.
talking about
That's right, no dues for 6
the
months.
South.
Stop by and see the Baywater
goes,
difference.
what did he
Call
say? What
me,
was his line?
Adam Botana, at 239-495-0455.
We don't have a lot of
That's
culture down here. We don't have museums. We have fairs.
495-0455. Again, 495-0455. Find us online at bwboatclub.com or just Google BW Boat Club. Baywater, the exclusive club of Southwest Florida.
Hi, it's Don Shula. Shula's Steakhouse is the perfect place for a perfect Valentine's Day evening. Make your reservations early.
Valentine's Day dinner will be extra special at Shula's with Wagyu steak with Bordelaise sauce or roasted halibut with carrot puree, heirloom carrot marigold, and Florida citrus vinaigrettes. Shula's famous regular menu is always available, so make your reservations early for dinner with your Valentine. Shula's in the Naples Hilton, 239-430-4999. That's 430-4999.
Now back to Miller and Moulton. No. This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. We stream this and every show on the station at foxsportsfm.com. You can watch Miller and Moulton every morning, a variety of places, but we're hoping that you'll sign up for both our Miller and Moulton YouTube and Twitch.tv channels. 249-8167 is the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line. Our question of the show: give us a rule in sports that you'd want to change. Mark proposed in golf, you hit it in the fairway, it's in a divot, get to take it out of the divot. I'm with you.
Well, I got one for you, David, that will completely trump that I think would win in a poll question.
Like if we asked for like best rule change?
The rule that most needs to be changed. And I think a lot of people around this, the fumble out of the end zone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I hate it. I do not think that should be.
You and Rich Eisen are big on that.
Oh, my God. It's absurd. It's absurd. Lose possession? Why? The other team did not recover the ball. I mean, it should go back to the spot of the fumble. Come on. I don't get it at all. At all, I don't get it. So, love it. Love that one. 249-8167. Keep the text coming in. Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line.
No warm-ups on the pitching mound, which I disagree with. I think they got to have a couple of throws from the hill.
I think 9 should be reduced to 3.
And no stepping out of the batter's box. Wherever you can implement that one, I'm in.
I feel that, but to me, there's already rules in place. The umpires just have to enforce them. I believe that pitchers, like servers in tennis, should dictate pace of play in baseball and softball. And so that's why the batter has to be in the box, ready to go. Hey, I don't know what to tell you. Pitcher determines at what pace we're going, fast
and the umpire,
or slow.
They used to.
Yeah.
They used to, where the batter would put his hand up to the pitcher or to the umpire and want time, and the umpire would go, no. No.
I will say, I saw it in a softball game over the weekend.
Well, that's because it was a college softball game.
But it was shocking.
I know, but not a Major League Baseball game.
I know.
And it's that one's fascinating to me, David, because I am not a big fan of umpires and their arrogance. Of all of the officials, the umpires think the most of themselves of any group of officials, in my opinion. And yet, for the group that is the most arrogant, you would think they would stop that more. And they have backed down to the batter in that instance. And they never used to, David. Never used to.
So keep them coming. We like them. We'll come up with a poll question. We'll also have the results of yesterday's poll question. But first, it's time for
the starting 5 big stories that you need to know. This is Miller and Moulton Starting 5. Fox Sports Radio and foxsportsfm.com.
Major League Baseball pitchers and catchers reported yesterday in Fort Myers for both the Red Sox and the Twins. They also reported for the very first time in Northport for Atlanta Braves spring training. Wonder how many
Northport. Could have been Naples. Why would we want the Atlanta Braves in Naples?
Right.
There's only 47 daily flights from Atlanta to Southwest Florida. My God, please put them in Northport.
The last thing you'd want is the economic capital of the South to have a tie to
let them have a tie to Northport.
But technically, it's not in the 239.
No, it's not. It's not in our TV market. It's not in our radio market. They don't matter.
Well, it's just. But if you're headed there, it is nice to have a National League team, though. I will say that.
The good news is, though, they are close enough that we will get the Braves now on the schedule a little bit more, so you don't have to see the Twins play the Red Sox 74 times this spring.
And the Rays and all that. Speaking of the Rays, their pitchers and catchers report to Port Charlotte today. The Astros will have the long-awaited press conference today at 9:30. 9:30. Owner, manager, players press conference, 9:30. Should be lively. If MLB Network's worth a damn, they should broadcast it live. Don't you think?
Yes. All I do know is that yesterday it was not a good look for the Astros.
When has it been a good look for the Astros?
Well, David, if I read it right, they weren't taking any questions and basically had security there blocking off everybody that was near there. I mean, I get that they've had a bad look, David. There's another to put the Gestapo in front of your baseball team so no one can talk to them.
Well, and it will also be interesting. My guess is they'll say, okay, today's the day, all the questions, and then everybody's going to be like, nope, sorry, not going to talk about this anymore. The new rules officially go into effect in Major League Baseball, Mark. Pitchers now have to have a 3-batter minimum. I think, though, like one of the 3 is if you want to walk somebody, you can. I mean, I believe that counts. Like if you pitch to somebody and then you want to intentionally walk somebody and then you're going to pitch somebody, that counts as 3. Also, 25-man rosters now, it's 26. NASCAR, the duels are tonight. 7 and 9 o'clock on FS1 if you're interested in watching at Daytona when they fill out the rest of the field. A reminder, Joey Logano to join us in a little less than an hour, right around 7:30 here on Miller and Moulton. And speaking of the Daytona 500, President Trump has announced that he will attend the race.
I got to know your audience, David.
NFL, insert joke here, Jameis Winston had LASIK surgery. Thought you were going to bang the drum or something. Is there a way to give a drum roll? But yes, after you throw 30 interceptions and you're a turnover
machine. It was my eye.
Well, apparently he's had bad vision his whole career, and
he just decided to let someone know about it.
I enters free agency. So insert joke here. Myles Garrett reinstated by the league after sitting out the last 6 games of last season. I think this is a little unfair though, because remember he didn't get paid for those 6 games. They also fined him, and he said, "Hey, I didn't get paid. Why do I have to pay the fine?"
You fined me.
You
fined me several $million.
Yeah, well, exactly. And they still upheld the $50,000 fine. But he's reinstated, but the $50,000 he doesn't get back. The AB apology tour continues. Big Ben, the recipient, in which AB said, Ben, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how good I had it with you. Yeah. Back to you, Mike Tomlin. NBA news. The Raptors' 15-game winning streak came to an end. Brooklyn beat them 101-91. Boy, the Heat, that West Coast trip didn't go well. They lost in Utah 116-101. Orlando a winner in overtime over Detroit 116-112. The Magic, as we head to the All-Star break, holders of the 8th and final playoff spot in the East despite being 6 games below 500. The Bucks got beat for just the 8th time this year. Indiana 118-111.
Who?
Indiana.
My Pacers.
Your Pacers.
Pacers.
They got Oladipo back a week and a half ago. I think they were 1-3 with him back in the lineup, but that's a big midseason acquisition, if you know what I mean. If the Pacers can figure it out, look out. 118-111 Indiana over Milwaukee, and LeBron and the Lakers in overtime beat Denver in Denver 120-116 in OT. College hoops, some really key games last night. Big East, Creighton goes on the road and beats Seton Hall 87-82. Villanova edged Marquette 72-71. Big 12 game that was relegated to ESPN Plus. Kansas in Morgantown beat West Virginia 58-49. The Mountaineers hardly scored in the final 7 minutes. And Georgia Tech upset Louisville last night in the ACC.
Right.
64.
Right. Georgia Tech ineligible for postseason play, for the record, right?
Pretty much. Gators.
No, I mean, they're actually ineligible.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's grades. I don't know whether they're actually one of the 2 teams that's ineligible.
Yeah, I don't think it's APR, but I think it has something to do with something before Josh Pastner.
Yep.
But Gators, much needed win in College Station over A&M, 78-61. Local college sports scene. Number 1 ranked FSW men beat Hillsborough by 34 on the road. Their 20th straight win. They're 27-1. The 12th ranked women of FSW beat Hillsborough by 38 on the road. And hats off to Zanotica Down. She is the second 1,000-point scorer in FSW history. Remember, it's a JUCO, You only have 2 years to score 1,000 points in less than 2 full seasons. That's pretty darn impressive. Tonight, I'll be at Kennesaw State, 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock tip. FGCU against the Owls, who are winless in ASUN play this year. And NHL, Bruins beat the Canadiens, Kings over the Flames, and Vancouver shut out Chicago 3-0. And that, Mark, is...
The starting five. 5 big stories that you need to know. This is Miller and Moulton's Starting Five. Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
Big FGCU week and weekend here on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. The men against Kennesaw tonight. The baseball team against Tulane tomorrow. And then an FGCU double dip in Nashville. The women and men against Lipscomb. The women have never lost to Lipscomb, ever. Like nearly 30 consecutive wins. And that's what we've got on Saturday. And then the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Our coverage begins at 1:30. And all of these sporting events you can get streaming for at FoxSportsFM.com. We'll recap.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
And I did find it interesting how we were viewing a 36-year-old Aaron Rodgers. There's nothing 36 about him. What I saw last night, I never
didn't want to be, but okay.
And attached an age because there's a certain point.
No, I know. Sorry, man. That's okay. I was actually, we were trying to give away the pewter mug thing now.
With their name.
But, so we'll give that away
and here they are.
Right before the top of the hour, okay?
Florida's Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
If a car dealer asks you for your tax refund,
every time I hear that, Fox.
I understand. I understand.
No,
I got you. I got you.
And there was a poignant
Other dealers
pause.
want your tax refund.
Little...
At Galliana Chrysler Dodge
Jeep I guess just enough.
We don't need it. Right now, during the President's Day event, new Jeep Renegade Latitude, $189 per month. New Grand Cherokee Laredo, $269 per month.
I don't know
new
if you
Jeep
found
Gladiator
this funny.
Sport 4x4, $279 per
That
month.
made
Over
me laugh.
1,100 Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams. All at the absolute best prices in Southwest Florida. Qualifying purchases with zero down and no monthly payments till August. That's right.
So the expensive cassette tape to make your mixtape. And I was one of those that bought them.
We'll give you
Thinking there
$6,000
was a
minimum for any
difference
trade in
of
any
that little
condition.
piece of
Running
tape
or
that was
not
the same
at
in all of
Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 1/2 mile south of Daniels Parkway on US 41
That
in Fort
made me
Myers.
laugh
Open every day,
yesterday,
including Sunday. Call 239-481-2600. GallianaCars.com. 42 months, 10,000 miles.
There you go.
Do it, sign plus tax, stock, and dealer fees, zero security deposit with lender approval, minimum trade toward the purchase of select
In
vehicles.
decades. Wow.
Ever purchased an online item and either
I
it doesn't
told Pat,
fit, has missing parts, or became damaged? Trying to save a few bucks can end up costing more. My Shower Door is a locally owned and operated family business that measures, manufactures, and installs our own brand of frameless shower doors right here in Southwest Florida. And we were just named Lee County's Manufacturer of the Year. With almost 80,000 shower doors installed, we have the experience and expertise.
Guys in the last row of the
Estimates
plane,
are always free.
his seat
Wanna
doesn't
see more?
recline.
Go to
Hers does. She
myshowerdor.com.
buries the back.
No matter where you're boating, with Towboat US, you're covered by the
She
world's
records
largest towing fleet with over 300 ports nationwide. Your local Towboat US companies in Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties are here to help 24/7,
I'd have turned around and lit 'em up.
365 days a year.
You have a
Inland,
problem?
the river to Lake O, and out 75 nautical miles. And new member specials are running all year. Call 239-945-1664 for more information, or visit towboatuscapecoral.com. With Towboat US, you're never stuck on the water.
You own a home with a tile or shingle roof? You live between Port Charlotte and Marco Island? Hello,
Ooh, I
I'm
like
Jimmy
that.
Williamson with Williamson Brothers Roofing. If you answered yes to either question, it's very likely your roof suffered damage from Hurricane Irma. It's not visible from the ground, and you may very well be entitled to a new roof for little or no money out of pocket. But you only have a 3-year window to make a claim, and time is running out. You have a tile or shingle roof and live between Port Charlotte and Marco Island, call us at 239-283-2013. It's a free, no obligation inspection that can benefit you in the form of a new roof. Williamson Brothers Roofing, we deal with the insurance carrier for you. Call us at 239-283-2013. Again, time is running out. Call us at 239-283-2013. Williamson Brothers Roofing specializes in the claims process. We have experts standing by. We get claims approved.
Well,
239-283-2013.
I actually think we've got enough rules here.
If you've been denied Social Security benefits, here's
divot,
something you need to know.
the
The law
out of the
firm
end
you choose
zone.
makes a big difference.
In fact, Morgan & Morgan wins more than the national average in recovering Social Security for clients that were denied. That means that when you hire our lawyers, you have a better chance of recovery than with the average lawyer. And that's a really big deal. If you were denied Social Security benefits, call us. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
And dial pound law on your cell. Pound law, that's all.
Offices, Fort Myers and Navy.
The Everblades return to Hertz Arena this Friday and Saturday night. Join us Friday for 2399 night. Just log on to FloridaEverblades.com/239 for a special ticket and food package on Valentine's Day. On Saturday, it's Pink in the Ring, presented by Radiology Regional. The Blades will wear special pink jerseys that will be auctioned off post-game, with proceeds benefiting the Four Words Foundation. Tickets start at $10, just $10, and can be purchased at the Synovus box office at Hertz Arena by calling 948-PUCK or log on to FloridaEverblades.com. Everblades Hockey, score some fun.
Now back to Miller and Moulton.
All right, now we're getting somewhere.
No. This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
$14 minutes before 7 o'clock, Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com and broadcasting live many a place, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch TV. Make sure you sign up for the Miller and Moulton YouTube and Twitch TV channels. We would appreciate it.
Do get a question here on the Twitch channel. Does the three-batter rule apply to position swapping? Can I have another pitcher in right field and switch back and forth? I don't believe so.
No.
He has to pitch to three batters.
Three consecutively,
batters. Yes.
Yes. So, very few people in the sport like it. And the reason they don't like it is beyond the strategy. It's more the pitch totals that could add up for these pitchers. You know, they try to, only have them throw a certain number of pitches. And they feel as if now if you got to face three batters, especially nowadays, the at-bats are longer, they take more pitches, etc., in which all of a sudden a guy that you're planning on throwing somewhere between 3 and 7 pitches could end up throwing 20.
Yeah, I mean, boy, I tell you, David, I feel badly for these Major League Baseball players who the minimum salary is quite large, and they may have to throw 20 pitches.
Well, it's not the players complaining more so than it's the managers and general managers.
I understand, and I'm mocking the general managers.
No, I understand.
I think it's I think the rule's stupid. I don't like the rule. I don't like the premise of it. I don't like anything about this rule. But the complaint that the pitcher may throw too many pitches is one of the more absurd reasons behind not doing it that I've heard.
Okay.
Personal opinion. I mean, oh my goodness.
But you know how overused bullpens are anyway, and that's with them being able to, okay, you're only going to face one guy and this, that, the other thing. Now if you have to face a minimum of 3, and
do you think it does anything to help the game, though? Speed up the game, make it more enjoyable for a fan?
That's why it's being done. It's being done for 2 reasons. I will say Rob Manfred, I thought a couple years ago, had a rare good point in which Rob Manfred said, in the other sports, the end of the games are the most exciting time. The bullpens now have become so dominant that the final 3 innings are not necessarily our most exciting innings. He goes, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think now he's trying to also, this could prevent lockdown bullpens, if you know what I mean. Or at the very least, you're going to have to find pitchers who, hey, righties are going to have to get lefties out and vice versa.
Well, and I also think, you want a guy to get 1 out at the end of the inning. It changes everything dramatically from that standpoint. Now he's got to come in and pitch 2 more in the next inning.
Correct.
So I do think,
So do you leave your starter in longer or do you take him out sooner? That's what managers are going to have to decide. There will be a strategy behind this. I do think it could really backfire early in the season when I don't think pitchers are ready. And now you could force a pitcher or two to go a little bit beyond what they're really ready for. But we'll see. Thank you, Houston Astros. That means it's an off-speed pitch.
The one baseball rule that was talked about that has not been brought up, and we brought this up last year after I did a little research and a pretty good article on it. No one said it yet, but the shift. Eliminate the shift.
Shift's been around for a really long time.
It has.
Ted Williams hit into the shift. Stargell, McCovey. I mean, you go all the way back to the 40s. Are you against the shift? Here's my thing about the shift. I have no problem with the shift, but you have to be in the infield. All right?
Got to have feet on the dirt.
I don't like the slow-pitch softball look that has happened in Major League Baseball. I'm fine with it in softball, but that's one of the reasons why softball is different than Major League Baseball. And my feeling is you want to put all 4 guys on one side of the infield, fine. By the way, they have to be in the infield. And I know there's a thing called the infield fly rule in which the ball can actually be in the shallow outfield, but that's my whole thing. I'm fine with the shift. You got to be in the infield. I hate the rover. I hate them even, this goes back to the days of artificial turf in which the second baseman and shortstops would be 3 to 5 steps when they have the white line drawn, and Ozzie Smith and Harold Reynolds and those in the middle infield, they'd be 3 to 5 steps beyond the white line. My feeling is move it in a little bit. I want a chance for those balls to get through.
And I think everybody who watches baseball does, from that standpoint, wants them to go through. So that, a couple of things we're talking about. Another thing I read yesterday, David, that I think is apparent to everybody, but there have been a few articles put out in the past couple of weeks of what's going on in college football. And the arms race, not only do a lot of people think it's over, it's been won. Because the Big Ten in the SEC are so far ahead of the rest of college football, it's not close. And it got brought up again yesterday because Michigan State was told no by Mel Tucker. So they went in and they doubled everything. His salary, the salary for the assistants, the number of cars he got, how big his apartment was, and everything else. I mean, they just doubled it. They threw so much money at Mel Tucker that he couldn't say no.
Do you know how much money Michigan State has spent in the last 10 days? D'Antonio got
$17 million is the number.
$17.5 million.
Yes, I know exactly what the number is. And I don't have, I actually, for the first time, put it this way, I came pretty damn close to putting a green shirt on this morning.
Wow.
Because they entered the arms race the right way.
Wow.
They went and got a coach, and they said, well, I remember when, I think before Lane started coming around, he was, the lead assistant, and I kind of joked at Michigan. I said to Graham Couch, what about Michigan State getting Lane as an offensive coordinator? And Graham answered me because they don't pay it. They don't pay it. Well, it's not the Mel Tucker thing that matters to me, and we'll see how that works. They went and offered the defensive coordinator and head recruiter for Kentucky $1 million to come to Michigan State and be the assistant. That's a new ball game for MSU. And nobody in the Pac-12 has the kind of money. Nobody. Except for maybe USC if they tried to dig it up. Nobody has money. UCLA is broke. They ran a deficit for the first time. Their TV deal is bunk. It's getting them less money this year than it got them last year. The ACC and Big 12 TV money is peanuts compared to what the Big 10 and the SEC are getting and what they're going to get with the new TV deal.
And remember, the SEC money, it's $45 million per school a year now. It's going to jump significantly when the new ABC ESPN money goes into effect, and the Big Ten gets to renegotiate here in the next 2 to 3 years.
Right. They strategically, Jim Delaney did a hell of a job on the way out. He took a shorter TV deal. His contract will expire 1 year before the Pac-12's does. And with the SEC getting a new deal, they figure it's a minimum of $17 million more per school per year with what their new television deal is going to get them.
Right.
And the Big Ten is going to get the same thing, if not more, because Fox is in a spot right now where they cannot lose the Big Ten.
And so what you're going to have in a nutshell is you're going to have SEC and Big Ten schools getting $65 to $75 million a year.
And then you have Clemson, Texas, and Oklahoma. Because Texas and Oklahoma have different deals than the rest of the Big 12. The ACC network, the Big 12 network, and the Pac-12 network pale in comparison to what these two conferences are. You and I have talked about when are the Power 5 going to take their ball and start their own league? Hell, David, the SEC and the Big 10 could start their own league right now and ask Texas, Oklahoma, and Clemson if they want to join.
So $65 to $70 million a year for Big Ten and SEC schools coming up here in very short order. And meanwhile, you're going to have Big 12 and ACC schools making in the $35 million a year range. That's just in amongst the Power 5. And the Pac-12, well, they are at the bottom of the list. 249-8167 is our number. Third caller, by the way, to win a $50 gift card to the Pewter Mug.
Enjoy the salad bar.
That's, if you haven't made any plans for Valentine's Day, or maybe, sometime next week, you need to make amends. Just throw a little something for the effort your way.
A little idea for you. Don't take her out Friday night. Go out Saturday night. You're going to get better service.
Look at you. Look at you.
Valentine's Day is a really interesting day to work in a restaurant because the tips aren't as good as you would think. You're dealing with all two tops. On a Saturday night, you get 4s, 6s, 8s. Right. Everybody's a couple on Valentine's Day, and they take way too long at dinner, and they don't tip nearly as much as they should because it's almost like an amateur night. A lot of people are going out that don't go out to dinner at a fancy restaurant on Valentine's Day. They go somewhere above their pay grade, and they don't necessarily know how to tip.
So third caller at 249-8167 on the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing. And it's not just text line, it's also a talk line. Hey, what are the results of our poll question yesterday? We were asking between the Premier Golf League and the XFL. The Premier Golf League's trying to get off the ground in 2022, which would be year 3 of the XFL. Which one, both, or neither will be around in 2022?
50% of you believe the XFL will make year 3. I voted for neither. That was the second most votes. The Premier Golf League got the third most, and both got last place.
I voted for the XFL. I think Vince will, it's an ego play, and he's got the money to back his ego, and so I think it'll see year 3.
And I do not. I think it'll see 2 and be done because, as we talked about, they're going to have to negotiate, and he's going to want to get paid in year 3.
Yeah.
And that will be the case. Great show coming up. Joey Logano in the 7 o'clock hour. Miller and Moulton, Fox Sports Radio.
You're clear.
Listen up, men. The biggest build-up to the most
49
night of your life is about to begin.
The number.
Everywhere you look, you'll see
What is this? What is this?
Valentine's Day only comes once a year, so
not everyone,
no
Mark. Some of us
excuse not to
agreed
be
with
completely
origin
ready.
of a species.
You can shop for
I
the
don't know
perfect
what
gift
that means.
and
Did
order
I say
beautiful
something
red
then?
roses, but what will make your Valentine's night perfect can't be bought in a store.
Please explain.
If you're having a difficult time performing because of ED or premature issues, don't let it ruin your night with your Valentine. Call the Fort Myers Men's Clinic and reclaim the fun and excitement that only intimacy can provide for you and her. Call 239-317-7777.
Yeah, I mean, it's there and it's easy for us.
Okay.
Or online at FortMyersMen'sClinic.com.
So,
$99 office visit. That's it. And if it doesn't work, you get your money back.
Oh, wow. Do you feel there will be a question we got? Here's a good
Fort
question.
Myers
Start
Men's
at 7 on
Clinic.
that.
You
A little
were key to a
baseball
better
hour
life.
question. Do you feel there will be a big increase of fitting injuries to pitchers to be able to pull them out before season 3 hitters?
It's funny. That's actually
Well, it's a
been brought
Twitter
up.
question. I don't think that's something. I know, but
Well, let Miller and Moulton
I think it's a good 7 o'clock thing to get into.
Listen to the show
Move
every
ball
morning
from
beginning
divot.
at 6 a.m. and you could win a $50
Ball-
gift
fu-
card
fumble
to
out of the
Pewter
end
Mug
zone.
in Naples. Just listen to Miller and Moulton and win from the station that doesn't just procrastinate.
Or fumble through the
blatantly
end
don't
zone,
do what we're supposed to.
resulting in
Southwest
change of
Florida's
possession.
Fox Sports Radio.
Pool need a checkup? Call the doctor. The Pool Doctor.
Hi, Dr. Mark here. LED color-changing pool lights can create an after-dark backyard oasis. Pick your color or select one of the light shows. You can see how dramatic it really is on our website. We're a family company, and for over 40 years, we've been doing business right.
The prescription is the Pool Doctor for award-winning pool service, repairs, and unheard of $39 diagnostic calls. That's mypooldoctor.com or 239-574-1133. State certified CPC 057088.
The sports station with balls and strikes. We also have strikes. WFSX AM from Naples to Cape Coral.
Mine would be the jump ball, but, I hate the, but I don't know. What do you have? I mean,
Sports Radio is sponsored by Estate Roofing in Naples. Online at
Quick question. We got 2
estateroofing.com.
more to give away, right?
We do.
Okay, because people are calling, and I already gave one away.
Yep. So you don't have to answer. Unless you want to. And say,
No.
I was going to say, if you ever do that, you just go, sorry, we have a winner. We'll give 2 away later. But you don't have to say anything. Let them ring. We'll address it on the air.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Remove ball from divot, fumble out of the end zone, alternate possession, which I don't think will get many votes.
I don't think it will either, but...
All right. We need one or two more.
Well, we could... we need one more. I mean, unless we take alternate possession out.
All right.
What about eliminate the shift?
I like that.
There's only one way to wake up in the morning.
Just do 3?
Yeah.
How the heck are you? Yep, that's it. Miller.
Shelter from the storm, huh?
And Moulton.
Yeah. Sounds like a song.
Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
All guests appear on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Hotline. Goldberg-law.com.
Oh, I like
It's up to you now. It's up to you.
I like it.
Now, the best local sports show this town has ever heard. Here's Miller and Moulton.
Your life.
Couple minutes past 7 o'clock on this Thursday morning. Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us. Great show lined up for you. Joey Logano near the bottom of the hour. Bob Papa an hour from now. The Chubb Classic gets underway tomorrow.
They've got a really good field.
Yeah, Freddie Couples in it too.
I mean, but Couples, Goosen, Colin Montgomery, John Daly. I mean, it's a
besides the normal staples, like Longer and McCarron and all
I guess
those.
what it is the fact that these guys are all my age and older now, and we're getting older. I mean, every year you start looking at the group of guys that turns 50. He's 50 now.
Well, never mind. Some of them you're like, oh my goodness, he's closer to 60,
right?
Than he is 50. But yeah, the Chubb Classic, one of the best fields and one of the best regular Champions Tour events on the schedule, has been for a long time. I believe it's back at the Lely Resort.
It is.
And Bob Papa calls the Chubb Classic and the majority of the Champions Tour on the Golf Channel. He also does NFL radio, and he's the radio voice of the New York Giants. He will join us an hour from now. And Sammy Watkins at roughly 8:25. Sammy Watkins, he of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, the South Fort Myers High standout. Also going to be Grand Marshal of the Edison Festival of Light Parade Saturday night in downtown Fort Myers. Sammy at 8:25. So a great show lined up for you. Still 2 more chances to win $50 to the Pewter Mug in Naples, and we thank them for their contributions to Miller and Moulton. We've been asking you, give us a rule that you'd like changed in sports. What bugs you? And Mark got it going with I think, a really good one. You think, by the way, how many times, because I don't play anymore, but hopefully will one day. But how many times do you
my member guest partner had to drop out.
Really?
Yeah, you want to play in a month?
No.
Okay.
So how many times?
By the way, that's free golf and drinks for 4 days that he just completely refused to me. I just want everybody to listen. That was about $1,200 I was going to spend on this guy, and he just, without even a breath. No.
I haven't played a round of golf in 3 years. I've played 3 rounds of golf in a decade. No, I'm not.
Time for a comeback.
Well, first I gotta get a new set.
You do.
I've got it earmarked 2021, baby. I've
really?
already got it planned out. Yep. If everything goes well.
Because I've got 5 more years before the kid turns 25, and then he's my partner until I die.
Gotcha.
My biggest regret in life is that my dad didn't make it long enough for me to play in a member guest with him. It kills me that I couldn't play with my pop. So I'm going to play with my kid, but he's technically a member until he's 25 under me. At that point, he's on his own. And I told him, I said, you better have some game. You got 5 years to get some game because you're my partner.
Okay.
So you got 4 years left after this year.
All right, I'll take you up on it once. I promise.
I want Miller and Moulton in that tournament. I do. Talking a lot of smack.
No, come on now. We're not good enough to talk smack.
Yeah, we are. In the 5th flight, we're great.
The 5th flight. Well, that's good. Is that because the 6th wasn't available?
No, there's a 6th. I think we're one better than that. There's a lot of guys that are hitting from those black tees up there.
Gotcha. Okay. And we'll still be from the whites, so that's true.
Yes.
That puts us in the 5th flight. But your suggestion, as somebody who plays golf regularly, is, This hole, you walk down the fairway, you find your ball in the divot. That's a joke. It's the fairway. Take the ball out of the divot.
Well, I mean, because you can be
punishment.
You can be standing on a sprinkler head in the rough. I mean, there are so many different ways that you get to improve your lie because of things on the course, and yet when you pipe it down the middle of the fairway and you happen to be in a divot, you're penalized. I think it's stupid.
And for those that are against it, I would argue, wouldn't you view it as ground under repair?
Thank you. It's actually what it should be.
And so therefore, I mean, every divot essentially should have those little lines around it in which you take it out of the ground under repair and you hit it. And I know, the elite golfer, the challenge of doing it and all that, I just think it's unfair. So I like that. One that I've been yelling about for years.
I think this will win our poll question.
You do?
I think this will win. And actually, I don't think it'll be close.
Really? We got a lot more golfers than we do people who fumble it out of the end zone.
But I think that I have realized how vastly I am in the minority on this rule, because this rule doesn't bother me, and it seems to infuriate every other. It infuriates every other football person so much that I know that I have actually started to waffle. I have become Luke Fickell. I'm a waffling flake when it comes to this rule.
Just because that Michigan State Yahoo
such a jackass.
called Luke Fickell a waffler does not make him a waffler.
I know.
I know. You were having fun, but I mean, I'm on Luke Fickell's side here.
I am too.
I know. You think he made the right decision staying at Cincinnati, and I do as well.
I do.
But what Mark is referencing...
It stinks when you start seeing the truth in things, David. When you take off those green or whatever color team glasses and you look at it for what it actually is, I think Luke Fickell made the right choice.
Those are some set of glasses you got to find. But we're talking about when they fumble through the end zone or out the side of the end zone or whatever the case may be, and the team loses possession. I've always felt that was unfair. And I'm a defensive guy. I want a lot more rules amended to help the defenses. I do. I want the officials to start calling more of the offensive face masks and the offensive pass interference, because I think that not only are the rules so tilted in favor of the offense, I think they're cheating. I really do. They know what they're doing. They know the picks are hardly ever called. Offensive players can grab the defender's face mask. Defensive players can't do it to the offensive player. So, but back to this. So I'm going in for a touchdown. You hit me at the 2-yard line and I fumble it out the end zone. We lose possession? The defense didn't recover the fumble. Okay, they caused a fumble. Why do you get penalized when it goes out of the end zone? If I'm at the 10-yard line and I fumble and it goes out at the 6, we still keep possession. But because it goes out the end zone, I lose possession? No. I think it should go back to the spot of the fumble. If you want to penalize us 5 yards from the spot of the fumble, okay, but I do not think, Mark, that the offensive team should lose the ball. Makes no sense to me.
I forgot. Someone came up with another rule in football on the Rich Eisen show about a week and a half ago and tried to get Rich to, knows that he can talk to people. And Rich like, I love it, but it is not going to get in front of fumbling out of the end of the end zone. Until I get that rule changed, I don't care about any of your damn rules. It's the only thing that matters to me. So I do think that is something, and I think there is a groundswell of support for that. I don't think that rule lasts through 2025, David.
Mark, I don't know. Seemingly Rich McKay is like the second most powerful person in the NFL. The head of the competition committee. I mean, I don't know how Rich McKay got this powerful, but apparently Rich McKay can torpedo just about any damn thing. And the only reason he wasn't able to torpedo the rule change about the pass interference was because Sean Payton went straight to Roger Goodell. And Goodell got it changed, but Rich McKay made sure that the rule got sabotaged and not enforced.
And it's going to be taken out. We all know that. The one thing I think we're most certain about heading to the 2020 season is that the pass interference replay rule will be eliminated from the game.
So, something needs to be done about Rich McKay, quite frankly. He's got way too much power. He just does. I don't know why he's this important. And then the other rule change that's been mentioned, and I think we're going to put these three as our poll question, as to what rule would you most like to see changed in sports, is in baseball the shift. Now, we didn't put the DH because, well, we know that's not going to happen. In fact, if anything, at some point in time here in the early 2020s, the DH is going to come to the National League.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could put in should the DH be, should it be a universal rule for the designated hitter, but I don't want to put it in because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we all...
Yeah, everybody in baseball knows it.
Baseball has decided it's going to happen.
Yeah, pitchers are not going to hit much longer.
Which makes a ton of sense. I don't like it. David and I would both rather see pitchers bat, but from the time they're collegiate pitchers until the major leagues, they don't touch a bat.
Right. The whole through the minor leagues. And so think about it. You go to college, then you get sent to the minors. It takes you however long to make it from high school to the major leagues, say 7 years. And you get to the majors, now all of a sudden they say you got to put a bat in your hand. I haven't hit since I was 17 years old.
The only thing about fielding and hitting that pitchers know is to shag fly balls during batting practice.
Right. And they're actually good at it. Yeah, I will say this, if major league teams ever run out of outfielders, you could put your most athletic pitchers out in the outfield. They can shag a fly ball.
In a heartbeat.
Yes.
That's what they do.
They're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
They really are, and they like it. They like it.
It's always, my dad always had this idea for a TV show of letting the artist, if you will, show what they can do with their craft. The Tiger commercial where he's bouncing the ball in the club and then hits it. All of those guys can do that. That wasn't just Tiger. They all can do that stuff. You watch what a kicker can do with a football, and you watch what baseball players and the little tricks, and they get that because they get bored. There's time at the end of practice. And, hockey players in the minors would always, at the end of practice, they'd get done, they'd do their thing, and then they would play post crossbar. And I'd go out in street shoes and play against them. I've done it a million times. And every sport has their little games. And they get so damn good at the little things that they do. I think, and he always was of the opinion that the fan would be astonished at what the player in his sport could just do goofing around with his particular apparatus.
You mean how good their eye-hand coordination is?
Yeah.
Well, the latest thing that's on social media is, and I don't even know the golfer who did it, but you know how golfers kind of turn around and they just kind of throw the club up in the air, so almost like a softball pitch.
Right.
Kind of throw it high and soft, and the caddy just catches it and puts it in the bag. Well, apparently one golfer on the tee has already moved about 15 or so yards ahead of the caddy. And he gets to the edge of the tee box, and the caddy's still back by the markers. And he turns around, and he takes his driver, and he slides the driver across the grass, the 15 or so yards to the caddy, just on the head of the driver. So he kind of does it like curling. He basically does curling with the golf club.
Sweep. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's an Olympic year. Even though it's summer games, I just got carried away for a second. I apologize.
Ladies
That's
and
me.
gentlemen, if you ever run into Mark, don't bring up curling. It's a soft spot. It goes back to Lillehammer, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, he slides the driver. When the lightning bolt comes through, all I ask is it doesn't nick me. That's all. Just to take you out.
Come on. Really and truly, of all the lies that you've heard from people, is there a better one?
No.
A more believable lie that I was on the 92 Lillehammer curling team?
No. I think you could sell it, too. You've almost convinced yourself into believing that it's happened. Right.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
Mm-hmm. 249-8167. Apparently, I'm doing the show with Brian Williams. 249-8167 on the Williamson
it's not
Brothers.
Matt Lauer.
Thank goodness for that. On the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line. So those are our 3 rule changes. The removing the golf ball from a divot, the fumble out of the end zone no longer being a touchback, and the shift in baseball. The shift, eliminating the shift. And I'm fine with the shift, but I just think that the players need to stay on the infield. No roving in the outfield, no 2-3 steps outside the infield. That's all. To me, you want to help balls get through the infield, make them play in the infield. I mean, now they're playing, 10, 12 yards into the outfield. I think that's absurd. I do. That's not an infielder, that's an outfielder. That's softball at the very least. 249-8167. Duels tonight for the Daytona 500. FS1 if you are so inclined, at 7 and 9 o'clock is when they will be run, and they fill out the rest of the field for the Daytona 500. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is on the pole. And speaking of the 500, Joey Logano scheduled to join us at the bottom of the hour. Obviously, we'll bring it up, and he's racing tonight, and we'll talk to him about it. A guy who's got 4 top 5 finishes in the last 5 Daytona 500s, including a win. And Joey's opinionated. He's not afraid to tell you what he feels.
No, he's one of my favorite guys out there. I'm not a huge NASCAR fan, but he's one that's never held back.
Can you believe he's been racing this his 12th full-time season? He's not yet 30. Not yet 30. And he's a veteran. That's how young this sport has gotten. I think to its detriment. But
I do too.
That's how young.
But he's one of the people that they need because now he's been around so long. He's still young. He still has another 10, 12 years to do this if he wants to.
He better. He better. I mean, you should at least be able to get to 40. But nowadays, nobody races into their 50s anymore. I mean, Earnhardt was killed at 49, but he would have raced into at least his mid-50s.
And all I think is Kyle Yarborough, who always looked like he was 62 when he was driving a race car.
That is true.
I mean, even at 30, he looked like he was 62 driving a car.
I mean,
Harry looked a lot like Don Rickle to me.
Harry Gant, Benny Parsons, DW, all raced into their 50s. I think Rusty Wallace got right to around 50 or his early 50s when he walked away. And now they're walking away by the early 40s. I mean, this is Jimmy Johnson's last year. What is he, 44?
He says he's going to run Indy?
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
It would be great for Indy.
John Andretti, who just passed away here in the last couple of weeks because of cancer, he was the first one to do the 500, 600 on the same day, run Indy helicopter, I think it was, over to Charlotte and do the Coca-Cola 600.
It is, I think, been the detriment of auto racing from a standpoint of the whole sport is when NASCAR became so particular and their season became so stringent and they quit letting guys run the 500 and they couldn't, basically. It was just, I've always thought that you want to send the drivers to Indy. I mean, I think if you asked most Americans what the biggest race in the country is, I still think most of them would say the Indy 500.
Ooh, that's a hell of a poll question. I don't know if we put, even though we're not doing a show tomorrow and Monday, a little 4-day President's Weekend.
Hey, you know what? You want me to put a poll question up tomorrow? You just let me know. A weekend show absence poll question. Just for you, I'll do it.
Well, okay. And I know you're not being sincere, but
not at all. I mean, there is nothing close to sincere about this. If you text me and tell me to put up a poll question, my answer is going to be do it yourself.
No, well,
yesterday, you retweeted our poll question at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Why were you so morally offended at that?
The show's from 6 to 9.
So what? You don't necessarily retweet something at 9:01 because, first of all, people may not see it. They may get so many tweets.
It was more that you ignored the poll question during the show.
I was busy.
From 6 to 9?
Well, no, I was working 6 to 9. I was busy. A lot of list of things to do before I left town for this FGCU extravaganza weekend here. And so I got around to retweeting our poll question at 3 o'clock. And you were morally outraged, which I don't understand.
No, I said a retweet's a retweet, even if it comes.
Yeah, exactly.
6 hours after the show.
Completely disingenuous. Nothing like a passive-aggressive, disingenuous
and I
tweet.
think, you know what, we got a Twitch listener here, Heckle Hyde, these fake names. I hate fake names. I really do. I wish Steve. I'm going to call him Steve from now on.
Even though it's...
No idea what his name is and don't really care. Could be Al or Jim. But Steve said Indy or Daytona. And Daytona might win that overall.
Well, that's what I think our poll question should be tomorrow through the weekend.
But this weekend's not really fair to put what race is the biggest race, the Daytona 500 that's running on our station on Sunday or the Indy 500 that'll be in a couple months.
Well, I think the key is to not name it the favorite race. Name it biggest race. What is the number one race in America? Indy 500, Daytona 500.
I think Indy still gets more people than Daytona, doesn't it?
You mean at the race?
Yes.
Well, they've got capacity. They've got double the capacity I think Daytona has. I think Daytona's around 200,000. Indy can go 4 and change. So I think Indy does get more people, but they can hold more people. But the rating, Daytona gets a better rating. More people watch Daytona than watch Indy.
Not here.
No, Indy may win here.
We are like the number 3 market in the country for the Indy 500 damn near every year.
Yeah.
Indy's number 1, and we're a top 5 market. We are the most peculiar television market in America of what we watch. We watch the NHL, we watch golf. We watch the Indy 500, and we love us some horse racing.
Yeah, we love the Triple Crown races.
It is fascinating how we do things around here.
But I think that'll be our weekend poll question.
Look at that.
We're
doing poll questions, and we're not even doing a show.
Right. What is the number 1 race in America? The Indy 500 or the Daytona 500? I think it's an interesting question.
It is.
Both have great tradition, obviously.
I brought it up to the boy yesterday when I was getting my litany of questions for Joey Logano coming up.
Right, in about 10 minutes.
I just said to him, I said, I looked up after yesterday when you started talking about the race being moved. We kind of talked about it after the show. I'm like, when is that next Daytona race? And it's the end of August, right? It's like it's the last weekend before college football starts.
Yeah, in fact, it's actually the weekend of week 0.
Right, it's the 29th or whatever that Saturday is. And I just said to my boy, I said, Daytona's always been pretty good to us. If I can score tickets in August, do you want to go? That might be my first ever NASCAR race.
Good for you. Good for you. You'll love it. You will absolutely love it. Auto racing is like hockey. Most people don't watch hockey on TV. They don't like it. You take them to a hockey game, they'll go, damn, this is cool. This is awesome. Same thing with racing.
Poll questions up. What rule would you most like to see changed in sports? A free drop from a divot, fumble out of the end zone. I couldn't get into the change possession. They only allow me 25 characters. Or eliminate the shift. Right now, the fumble out of the end zone, well ahead of everything else. I'm sure it will be the winner. But vote that Mark Miller, and whenever David gets around to retweeting it,
I'm going to do it now.
David Moulton.
Oh, no, I'm going to do it now.
Really, during the show?
Yes.
That's a novel idea.
Because God forbid I do it during the afternoon. Unbelievable. Miller and Moulton.
We need 4 days, folks. I just want to let everybody know these are really 4 important days for Miller and Moulton. You text me between now and Monday, I'm going to punch you in the mouth.
Just to remind you to put up the racing poll question. Reminder that while we're off, I'm on the road tonight at Kennesaw State. The FGCU men, much needed win tonight against the Owls of Kennesaw. We'll have it for you. Tip at 7 tomorrow. FGCU baseball against Tulane. Very good Tulane team. FGCU picked to finish second in the ASUN this year, so they're a legitimate contender for the NCAAs. And then an FGCU women's and men's doubleheader on Saturday afternoon into the early evening in Nashville against Lipscomb. And then the Daytona 500 Sunday. Our coverage begins at 1:30. All of this over the next 72 hours right here on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. But first, let's give away a $50 gift card. What do you say? Pewter Mug in Naples? Pick the caller, Mark.
Let's go with caller number 2.
Caller 2. A la the PA announcer for the Yankees.
Number 2.
Derek Jeter.
Number 2.
Or $50 to the Pewter Mug. 249-8167. 249-8167. Caller 2 wins. When we come back, Joey Logano here on Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
This is
the
Broom Challenge.
We are in the story business, so I always understand when the media goes gaga for a story. I think Patrick Mahomes is amazing, but this is the end of chapter 1 in about a 15-chapter book, and I think we're writing things and embellishing things that aren't true.
Colin Cowherd. Weekdays at noon on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio
Wow.
and FoxSportsFM.com.
Dr. Jim DiRespino from C4MH in Frank's Garage today, talking about New Year's resolutions. It seems like every year we want to turn over a new leaf, right? We're going to eat healthier, we're going to get to the gym, and then come February 1st, what? Nothing? And most guys say, I just don't have any energy.
Steven, you are Joe. I don't care if you're Steven from Newark. You are are
go to
Joe, is that what I said his name was?
We have an express treatment program that
Oh,
will get you
yeah,
over
Steve, okay.
$400 of blood tests, including total and free testosterone.
All right, you
and
can be
an
Steve
in-office
from Newark.
doctor consultation.
I'm just
going
to make up names.
$45.
It's more fun that
I'm
way.
a patient at C4MH, and it's safe, convenient, and affordable. Best part is,
Hey, David
now I've got
retweeted
the
everything,
energy to
everybody.
follow through with that New Year's resolution.
Exactly. Your workouts become super energized. Your $45 gets you information about the state of your body.
So, guys, give yourself the gift of testosterone replacement therapy at C4MH.com. The leaders in low T care, and make your resolution this year a successful one.
Did you ever get on
where you're boating? With Towboat US, you're covered by the world's largest towing fleet with over 300 ports nationwide. Your local Towboat US companies in Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties are here to help 24/7, 365 days a year. Inland, the river to Lake O, and out 75 nautical miles. And new member specials are running all year. Call 239.
No, I know. I had to recheck it.
64
Yeah,
for
I
more
rechecked
information. Or visit towboatuscapecoral.com. With Towboat US, you're never stuck on the water.
No.
Oh, I didn't know.
No, I thought.
Dial star 2020. Friends, I care.
Had enough of your daily contact lens routine that sometimes leaves your eyes begging for mercy, or maybe you just want to look in the mirror and see your face without glasses. It's time to show some LASIK love to yourself, or maybe give the gift of LASIK to that special someone this Valentine's Day. Dr. Jonathan France and his expert team of surgeons at France Eye Care want you to see your future in 2020. So for a limited time, they're offering a sweet deal of $1,500 off bilateral LASIK. Dr. France,
But I can
LASIK surgery assisted the first laser
right
vision
where your other
correction procedure ever
like,
performed
I'll
in
show
the
you,
U.S.
like,
with 30
I'll show you,
years
like,
of
when I go to my
experience, and this is expertise that you can trust.
mail,
Take
I've got
advantage.
my Comcast
$1,500 off LASIK because this sweet special is only being offered for a limited time. Financing available. Trust your eyes to Dr. Jonathan France and the team at France Eye Care and start seeing your future in 2020.
Friends, I care.
I'm a busy person.
Catch the show anytime. Check out MillerandMoulton.com and subscribe to the daily podcasts.
Hardee's new 2 for $5 mix and match may just be the best deal in town. Where else can you get any two Hardee's favorites like the bacon cheddar double, the hot ham and cheese, the original roast beef, or the charbroiled double cheeseburger for $5? That's a ton of lunchtime
Hang on,
options for
I gotta
only
get this done.
$5.
I completely
Come to
forgot.
think of it, Hardee's 2 for $5
I know,
mix
but I gotta
and
have a
match
screen
may
graphic
be the
on
best
there.
deal in the state. Someone call the governor and double check that.
seconds.
Offer available for a limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Price and
Come
participation may vary.
on.
Tax not included. Not valid with any other offer, discount, or combo. Looking to work some meatless options into your weekly routine? Hardee's is proud to introduce the original Beyond Thick Burger and Beyond Sausage Biscuit. Both patties are 100% plant-based, but are just as savory as the real deal. Now we know what you're thinking. How could a burger or breakfast sausage made entirely from plants be that satisfying? Guess the best way to find out is to taste for yourself. The original Beyond Thick Burger and Beyond Sausage Biscuit, now at Hardee's.
Hardee's Beyond Meat products are not vegan. The products are cooked on the same surface as meat.
If you've been denied Social Security benefits, here's something you need to know. The law firm you choose makes a big difference. In fact, Morgan & Morgan wins more than the national average in recovering Social Security for clients that were denied. That means that when you hire our lawyers, you have a better chance of recovery than with the average lawyer. And that's a really big deal. If you were denied Social Security benefits, call us. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Dial pound law on your cell. Pound law, that's all. Offices, Fort Myers and Naples.
Here we go. Now back to Miller and Moulton.
No.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com and broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. The Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line is 249-8167, 249-8167. Make sure you take part in our poll question. We're asking you, which of these three rules would you change first in golf? Removing a ball from a divot as opposed to having to play it where it lies in the fairway. In football, changing the fumble out of the end zone as a touchback as opposed to maybe, I don't know, placing it back at where the person fumbled like we do at all other areas of the field. And then in baseball, eliminating the shift. Would you eliminate it or would you keep it where it is? That is our poll question. Make sure you go to MillerandMoulton.com or that Mark Miller or the David Moulton and respond.
Two 249-8167 is our number for the Williamson Brothers Marine Talk and Text Line. Bob Papa on the show at 8 o'clock. Sammy Watkins, Super Bowl champ, South Fort Myers grad at 8:25. But now it's time that we catch up and have a chat with Joey Logano.
As we roll along here on Miller and Moulton, pleasure to welcome back to the Goldberg Noon Abraham Law Firm Hotline, Joey Logano, Cup champion in 2018, Daytona 500 champion 5 years ago now, back in 2015, although he's finished in the top 5 in 3 of the last 4 races as well. Joey, thanks for your time. How are you?
I am doing good. How are you today?
Well, we are great. What is it about Daytona that fits with your style of racing? Because you've got 4 top 5s, including a win in the last 5 years. What is it about Daytona?
Oh, man, it's hard to say. I love it, for one. I think anytime you love what you do, you excel at it. And I love super speedway racing. I think it's a lot of fun. It could be the most frustrating thing at times as well, but I think for the most part we've had a lot of fun with it, and really trying to wrap my head around this thing and studying other drivers and myself and how I can be better, and as a team how we can be better, and we've had decent success. Not as much as we'd like, but pretty good. So I think for those reasons I enjoy it. I love that this is the biggest event of the year. It's just a lot of fun for me.
Joey, we know you're in the midst of doing a ton of these, and NASCAR guys are always so gracious with their time in interviews, and you don't remember one from the other. But I will say, full disclosure, you were on with us before the 2015 500. That seemed to work out okay for you.
Right. We're claiming you. Okay? We're claiming part of your success.
We claimed you then, and we will do it again now. But when you went through that you love super speedways, do you love them more than the regular tracks or the short tracks? What is it about the super speedway? You just described that it can be so frustrating. With that, why is it that you like it so much?
Yeah, I don't know if I love it more than other types, but I just love driving race cars, if I'm being honest. But I like it. I wouldn't want to do it every single race. You know, I wouldn't want to run a short track every single race. I wouldn't want to run a mile and a half either. You know, it's just something that I like, that we get to change it up. And that's one of the greatest things about NASCAR as a motorsports division, is that you get to run something different every single week. And as a race car driver, that's a huge challenge to be good at that many different disciplines and styles of racing. That's a lot of fun, and it's challenging for the race teams as well. So that is something to me that's probably the most attractive about our sport right now for me. So I enjoy that part of it. I enjoy that, you know, there's contact in our sport, and, you know, compared to other forms of motorsports. So I love it. You know, I like that part of it. So just as one of those things, and you know, everyone has their different choice of what they like, but it's something I like.
500, of course, this Sunday. Our race coverage begins at 1:30 here on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. We're streaming the race at foxsportsfm.com. Remember, different NASCAR schedule in Florida this year. Homestead, Miami, Dixie Vodka 400 is next month, Mark, and then the second Daytona race, no longer around the 4th of July. It's the very last weekend in August.
I'm trying to stay positive about this whole weekend, okay? No firecracker 400 bothers me. The new packages this year, how is it going to affect this weekend? How's it going to affect short tracks? You guys are in new vehicles with the new packages. How is this going to affect you guys?
Yeah, so to be clear, the new package is only different at the 750 races. So we have 750 horsepower on the short tracks. And the only thing that's different than last year is we put a smaller spoiler on the back, a smaller splitter in the front to try to balance that, and effectively just make a smaller wake in the air. Just like when you're behind a boat. When you're behind a bigger boat, the wake is bigger, right? So when you put a smaller spoiler on it, you have a smaller wake, and that'll be better at the short tracks. We will keep the same package at the 550 races. So when we're down there in Miami, you know, or other mile-and-a-half type racetracks, we will have the big spoiler on the car with 550 horsepower, which creates a big tote. It creates a big draft to behind the leading car, which just makes the cars closer and more passing. And that works good at mile-and-a-half tracks. We figured out last year it doesn't work so good for short tracks. So we've adjusted the spoiler height and the downforce ratios for there to try to improve the racing.
He's Joey Logano in the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang. Well, the talk of last week was that, Hendricks got speed. How much speed do you feel Team Penske has, and how much speed can you acquire from last weekend to this coming weekend?
There's only so much you can get. It's all those dials are turned up as far as we can get them. So at this point, it's a compromise. And yes, those cars have speed, but do they handle? That's the question that we all wonder. So, there will be points in the race where speed on the straightaway is a huge deal. But there'll also be points in the race that you got to be able to have a car that's handling good, to make big aggressive moves, to take big shoves in the back and people bumping you and cars putting you in tough spots on the racetrack. You got to have a car that can handle to get through that stuff. So unless you're going to crash. So it'll be very interesting to see where that's at. You don't know until the race starts. The duels that happen here Thursday are in the nighttime. And when the track conditions are cooler like that at night, the cars will have more grip naturally. But when it's hot and sunny in the 500, who knows, what's going to happen, what's going to, pay the biggest dividend. But I think handling will be something that will be important, especially as tires wear out. So, yes, they have speed, but we'll see.
Unlike a lot of years, too, it seems the weather's going to be pretty consistent this week. We've had a lot of years where Saturday's one type of weather, Sunday's completely different, and it throws you guys off. But you mentioned, the bumping and stuff like that. Hey, we all know last weekend, new teammates, new year, new arguments. Did Team Penske have a full-on team meeting this week to air out some grievances? A little Festivus this week for you, Joey?
Not yet. No, I think we'll be able to figure things out. Trust me. You always do. You have to. It's your teammate. You always figure it out. So I'm not really concerned about any of that. It's part of it. We're all out there racing with one goal in mind, and a lot of times you get out of the car and someone sticks a microphone in your face and you're mad and you haven't seen the whole story yet. You haven't heard the other perspective from the other driver, and you say something that didn't come out as smooth as maybe you want it to. And we've all been there. We've all done it. So, I know that. That's why I don't really take things personal in those situations. I go, well, that's part of it. I've been there. So, like I said, you work through things, straight through it, and you just keep moving forward.
I mentioned a moment ago the Dixie Vodka 400 at Homestead, Miami is next month. Normally, obviously, you used to end the season at Homestead in November, plus Daytona gets moved from July 4th to the end of August. Do you like the new schedule? Do you like ending at Phoenix? Do you like the Florida races getting moved around, or did you kind of like it the way it was?
Well, selfishly, I kind of like the way it was because we ran really good there in Miami the last few years. But, I do like changing it. I don't believe it should be at the same track more than 1 year in a row. If you ask me, I think we should move it around from place to place to keep changing that up, the final race of the year, that is. But, I do think it would be kind of weird going to Miami after, just being there, and something that we've been so used to getting there as the last race of the year, and you land there and it's warm, and, South Florida, and, it just has that environment that it's the last race of the year. And now we're going right back there. But, the facts are that's a great racetrack, and it is a track that puts on great racing. You're able to pass the other cars in front of you, which is nice as a race car driver. Restarts are chaotic because the track's so wide that you can go to the top or the bottom and make big runs and big moves. Your tires wear out so quickly there that, if you run too hard, you're going to pay a penalty in the long run. It's just a fun racetrack. It's one of the best ones we got.
All right. I can't not ask this question because we've all done things that we look at and we go, why? When you walked away from Hamlin and you threw that last little, not even a push, you come on, you had to know that was not. Did you think it was over, or did you know deep down when you did that something's going to be said, something's going to be happening? Because we've all done that, whether at some point in our life something similar. So I think there's not a guy in the world that can't relate to where you were. But did you think it was over, or did you know something else was going to happen?
Honestly, I kind of thought it was over because I didn't see. There's one of those things that's right after the race and you're heated and you do something that wasn't really smart. See, we all do it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Right on. We knew where you were at.
Right. We may not be racing, but trust me, we do it. Joey, thanks for your time. We know you're pressed for it. All the best this weekend at Daytona, where you run great, and have a great year. Hopefully we can catch up down the road.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you guys.
Joey Logano in the 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang, mentioned, won it in 2015. And
with our help.
Right. There's no doubt we get part of that. And 3 of the last 4 races in the top 5, including 4th each of the last 2 years.
Love what he said about the playoff. Not a NASCAR guy, and everybody who listens to the show is well aware of that.
Right.
But I love the idea because, like he said, we get to Florida. We know how we run there. It would make it, to me, I know this. They try to treat it like a team sport. It's tough for those of us that aren't into it to treat it like a team sport because Joey Logano drives the car. I don't know who the guy who's changing the tires. Like, we know who the linemen are. We know names, but I don't know who's the tire changer. And boy, Moulton really screwed that up, So having these crews to have to every year change their philosophy for the playoff, I think would be incredible.
Moving it from Homestead, Miami to Phoenix, which is a different track and a little similar in terms of size, but different. And yeah, some guys run, like Joey said, I'm kind of going to miss it because we're running so well there. But at the same point, I think we should move it around. I don't think you can end, though, at a super speedway. And I'm not so sure you can end at a road course, which basically means that you're racing at a track between, 1 mile and 1.5 mile. That's basically what you're going to end it at. Because I don't know if you want to end it like at Talladega.
And I don't know if you'd want to. I don't know if you'd want to end it at Bristol either, for that matter, where they don't run that fast. And it's great, but it's not when you watch it on TV. First off, the cars seem a hell of a lot slower when we're watching them than when you're there. We all know that. But Bristol, when you watch it on television, it looks like they're going 4 miles an hour.
I think the smallest you can go is Dover. I mean, it's a mile. I think that's the smallest track you could end up with. But that's a very interesting concept.
Well, and Dover's an impossibility because you can't do it in November.
Right.
So, I mean, you're looking at maybe some Texas speedways, California, Arizona, come back to Florida at some point.
It can get cold in Phoenix in late November.
It can, but it's not going to snow.
Probably not, no. But, so a new race schedule. I mean, if you're a racing fan, but if you're a casual sports fan and you wanted to go, Daytona's not July 4th weekend anymore. It's the very last weekend of August, right before Labor Day weekend. And so that's your second Daytona race, and Homestead, Miami is now your first weekend of March Madness.
Do they want it to get it wetter and hotter? Was that their idea?
I don't know. I wonder, though, that's close to the last race before the playoffs start, which is usually right around Labor Day weekend. And it's been historically at Richmond here. That's been the final race, and then it sets who the 10 teams in the playoff are, or 12 or 16 or what have you. But so the Daytona 500 this weekend, our coverage begins at 1:30 Sunday, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, and we are streaming, of course, at foxsportsfm.com. Today was the day when, next on Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
NASCAR kicks off for the 2020 season with the 62nd annual Daytona 500, and you can hear flag-to-flag coverage exclusively on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. 200 times around the 2.5-mile track where the winner becomes a Daytona 500 champion. It's the Great American Race. Get it live this Sunday at 1:30 on Fox Sports Radio and foxsportsfm.com.
We are Fox Sports!
When you buy a Wellcraft boat from Boaters Landing, you get an offshore fishing boat designed especially to enjoy a long day on the water with family and friends. And you also get one of the best warranties in the business. Wellcraft's factory warranty is not just any 3-year warranty. It covers material, labor, and most boat components for 3 years. See Boaters Landing for details.
Boaters Landing,
delivering the dream for over 30 years.
If you needed heart surgery, who would you call? A doctor who's done it every day, or a doctor who's done it once a year? The same is true about your erectile dysfunction. At the Fort Myers Men's Clinic, our Florida physicians focus on one thing: solving your ED. High blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, prostate cancer, these all contribute to your ED. And our physicians at the Fort Myers Men's Clinic know how to solve your problems. We have over 50 different custom formulations tailored just for you. You get to try the medication containing FDA-approved ingredients right in our office. Your total cost for the consultation, test dose, testosterone, and PSA test is only $99. If the test dose doesn't work, you pay us nothing. So you have absolutely nothing to lose, but everything to gain. Call now. 239-317-7777. That's 239-317-7777. And move from skeptic to believer. 317-7777, 317-7777, or online at FortMyersMen'sClinic.com.
Hey, it's Tony. Happy Valentine's Day. Bring the one you love to Anthony's for a steak
Wait a
and
minute.
lobster dinner.
This
got 2 days?
Enjoy steak and lobster
They're all
dinner
week?
served with champagne, only $65 per
stage
couple
again?
at Anthony's on the Boulevard. Call 239-772-5900 to make your reservation. Anthony's on the Boulevard is the Cape's choice for live entertainment. Karaoke Mondays, poker and bar bingo on Tuesdays. Wednesday is trivia and live music on the patio. Every Thursday, national comedians take the stage, then dance the weekend away with live music on the patio. Check Anthony's on the BLVD.net or like them on Facebook for event updates. Anthony's popular daily lunch, only $9 with free beer
Funny.
and soft drink. Many
Ask
items
that
to
question.
choose from.
I think
Plus,
Daytona has
Anthony's
overtaken
best
it.
Sunday breakfast buffet
Guy,
served from 8
text.
to 1
Two
with
texts later.
made-to-order
Indy
omelet
500
stations
by
and
far.
free coffee. Anthony's
It's
on the
actually a good
Boulevard,
question.
1303 Del Prado Boulevard South. Call 772-5900 or sign up at anthonysontheboulevard.net to receive a free breakfast buffet.
Contact Miller and Moulton anytime. Call me Daddy. Save the Williamson Brothers Marine text and talk line to your contacts.
Who's got it better than us?
239-249-8167.
We are
Starting with a text, David.
Hey, Sean here again for Cathedral
Frank.
Roofing Innovations. Look, my fellow Naples homeowners, you should now be seeing homes with tile roofs getting replaced in your
So
neighborhoods.
when I
Now,
said
this is
guy,
all
when
result
the guy
from
about the
Hurricane
shift, that was
Irma
the
and the damage
not
that
everyone,
caused
Mark.
to an
And I said,
estimated
please explain. He said,
75% of all
I
tile
said, gotcha.
roofs
Just
in
had no idea what
Southwest
you were referring to. I say a lot of
Florida.
stupid things
Still,
every
only
morning.
15%
You
of
just got to
you
laugh.
have
I'm like,
received
I
a new tile
wasn't
roof.
trying to be,
Neighbors
wasn't trying
are
to
now
dodge. Just want to let the guy
increasing
know.
the
I
value
had no
of
idea what you were
curb
talking
appeal of
about.
their homes with these new tile roofs. So do the same and call Cathedral.
This guy says the
Roofing
divot
Innovations.
rule won't work.
Cathedral
I
Roofing
totally
Innovations,
disagree with that.
tile
It
roof
could be
experts
easier.
right
You
here in
just
Southwest
take it out of
Florida.
the divot. Too much of a gray area. I mean, the whole sport is a gray area when it comes to rules.
You don't
It's a
have any
divot.
damage.
We all know what a divot is.
You bring over your plane partners. This in a divot? Yeah.
Company to come
I mean, that's
out
the other part.
and
It's
stop
really,
your
hey,
roof for damage.
this in a
Just go
divot.
to
Yes, it is. Take it out and drop it.
CathedralRoofingNaples.com. That's
Hell, I know you gotta do it,
CathedralRoofingNaples.com.
You know, come on, you just
License
take
number
the old
CCC
wedge, take it out,
1327875.
just move it out of the
Ever
divot.
purchased
No,
an
you
online
just don't.
item?
You can't. You got to
Has
drop
missing
it.
parts
You
that
you
contain
can't
damage?
move the ball
Why
with
even
the
save a
club.
few bucks can end up costing more. My shower
And the new
door is a
drop's
locally
great.
owned
Drop
and
it from your
operated
knees. You
family
bend
business
over and you drop it.
Measures, manufactures,
Only
and
took 'em
installs
47
our own
years to
brand
figure
of
that out.
frameless shower
I mean,
doors right
you
here
used
in
to drop
Southwest
it. I mean,
Florida.
come on.
And
Behind our
we
back,
were
just
just
got your
Lee
back.
County's
Right, but you
manufacturer
knew how to drop
with
it if
almost
you wanted it
80,000
to.
shower
You could
doors
do a million
installed.
things
We
to
have
that
the
fucking ball
experience
roll.
and expertise.
I mean, you
Plus,
knew that
estimates
when you
are
played it.
always free.
If I
Wanna
leave
see
here,
more?
go down the
Go to
hill, and I'll do it twice, and then I'll place
myshowerdor.com.
it.
Right, and it's not supposed
Now
to roll
back
off
to
your
Miller
back.
and
But if you do, yeah.
Hit my back. I didn't
This
feel anything.
is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
"12 minutes before 8 o'clock, Miller and Moulton on this Thursday before Valentine's Day. Hint, hint, get it together. Time is running out. May want to call for a reservation also, or make your plans for Saturday. Also needing a reservation. It's season, Valentine's Day, on a weekend. Hello? They get the message?
I hope so.
All right. Good.
I hope so. But quickly, David, I got to get to a tweet before today was the day when, or a text rather. When I made the comment about your retweet,
right?
Texter says 4 p.m. repeat is bad. Hell, yesterday I got a reply email from Mr. Moulton. The subject line was Dan Mullen. Chills went down my spine, wondering when I drunk emailed the show about Mullen. After reading the original email, it was November 2019. DM is a hardcore responder. Thank you for the laugh.
I finally went on the David at millerandmoulton.com email address.
Which he's had for 2 years, and for the first time ever, yesterday looked at it.
Yeah, I did.
I've paid for it. We've paid for it for 2 years.
Right.
And David finally looked at it.
It deleted a couple hundred emails, responded to 6 of them, though.
And you were one of the 6.
There
so
you go.
For that, sir, We thank you for the email, and we thank you for the text. It is time now for Today Was the Day When.
Miller and Moulton's Today Was the Day When, giving you the history of today's date so you're a beacon of useless knowledge around the office.
Useless, but a lot of fun to talk about.
This is Today Was the Day When, Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
David, it was today in 1633 that Italian astronomer Galileo arrived in Rome for a trial before the Inquisition for professing a belief that the Earth revolves around the sun.
The Inquisition, the Inquisition.
What a show, the Inquisition. Sorry, don't start because I'll go put it in right after I'll be here till noon. 1693, the College of William and Mary opens in Williamsburg, Virginia.
And Lou Holt shortly thereafter told the joke that Mary needs to give William a little more help. He's used that line for 45 years on the circuit, and it's still funny.
It's still funny. 1795, the first state university in the United States opened. It would be the University of North Carolina. They had a class at that point that you could just take online and get a 4.0 in.
Right, and things really haven't changed.
1866, Jesse James holds up his first bank.
Wait a minute. What, did he write it on a calendar? We know this for a fact?
He robbed the Clay County Savings Association in Liberty, Missouri for $15,000. I'm guessing it was the bank that documented it, David.
That's a lot of money back then.
1932, a 2-2 tie with the U.S. is good enough for Canada to clinch its fourth consecutive gold medal at the Lake Placid Games in 1932. 1937, the Boston Redskins receive approval from the NFL to move to Washington. And they would share baseball's Griffith Stadium with the Washington Senators. Rocky Marciano knocks out Gino Buonvino in the second round. It was his 40th straight win in Providence, Rhode Island. 1968, this is the insignificant sports moment of the day. In Innsbruck, French skier Marielle Godeschel takes the slalom gold medal. People wanted more insignificant sports moments in this segment, so that's what I give them.
Right, we're trying to give you a little more sports, and today was the day when.
1971, Spiro Agnew hits 2 tee shots into the crowd while golfing, injures 2.
That's all right. Cheney shot a guy. I mean, it's okay.
Grease opened today on Broadway in 1972, as did Cabaret. Pretty big day on Broadway when Grease and Cabaret are opening on the same day.
Let me tell you, the 70s on Broadway were amazing. A Chorus Line, Chicago.
Guys and Dolls closed at the Broadway Theater after 239 performances today in 1977. This is all for David. It's for nobody else because
I love Broadway.
1978, Dire Straits records their first album at the Basing Street Studios in London. The whole project cost about $20,000 to produce, and this song would be on the charts for over 2 years. The Lake Placid Games opened today in 1980. 2-2 tie against Sweden in day one.
Bill Baker in the final 30 seconds.
Coming off the bench.
Pulled the goalie.
Yep.
Got the all-important 2-2 tie. Beat Czechoslovakia in game 2, and that's when you knew.
Whooped Czechoslovakia. It's the hardest hitting hockey game that I've ever, for years, that was the hardest hitting game I'd ever seen.
And that's when Herb Brooks, with the camera slowly zooming in on him, looked at one Czechoslovakian player and said, "I'll take that coho and shove it up your..."
Yes, he did.
And that's when America said,
I like this guy.
Coach.
I like this guy. In the year 2000, the last original Peanuts comic strip appeared in newspaper the day after Charles Schulz died. And in 2002, the late great Waylon Jennings died after a lengthy fight with diabetes. He was Buddy Holly's bassist, by the way. Before all the country stuff, Waylon was a huge music guy in all genres. If you were born today, you share your birthday with Patty Berg, the golfer who had 15 titles, including the U.S. Women's Open in 46, born in Minneapolis today in 1918.
Well, yeah. She has the second highest total. Her and Tiger are tied at 15 in terms of majors.
Eddie Robinson, the Grambling coach, born today in 1919, as was Tennessee Ernest Ford. Jerry Springer, born today in 1944. 3 people born today in 1944. Sports, acting, and idiot. Springer, Sal Bando.
Ooh, Sal Bando.
And Stockard Channing. I mentioned Grease earlier. She was in Grease.
Yeah,
she was
she was.
Rizzo.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Mike Krzyzewski. You want to take a stab?
Coach
By
K?
the way, who's older, Peter Gabriel or Mike Krzyzewski?
I'll go Coach K.
Close, but yes.
74.
73.
Coach K?
Coach K. Peter Gabriel turns 70 today. Henry Rollins, metal god, born today in 1961. Matt Sundin, great NHL player, is his birthday today. And I think where would you rank Randy Moss as far as receivers?
What are we like?
All time.
All time?
Yeah. Where do you put Randy Moss? I think he's the best receiver because I'm not. Jerry Rice may be the best, but Jerry Rice, I was younger. In my adult life, I don't think I've watched a better receiver than Randy Moss.
Well, there's never been a more talented receiver. Randy Moss was unguardable.
43 today is Randy Moss, and that is today was the day when, on this, the 13th of February.
But there were many other players. I mean, T.O. got more out of his career. Jerry Rice, obviously.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking about what they did, but I don't know if I've watched a better receiver play football than Randy Moss.
He single-handedly ended the Packers' run. By the way, they single-handedly ended it. They were just steamrolling. It appeared in 3 straight NFC Championship games. Had gone to 2 straight Super Bowls. Randy Moss, as a rookie in 1998, single-handedly ended the Packers' run. Most talented. Outside of Lawrence Taylor, the most talented player I've ever seen.
1
in
minute.
person.
And I thought that's what you were going to say because to me, and I never saw Randy in person, but I mean when I watched him play, I don't think I've ever seen a more gifted receiver. Jerry Rice may have had better numbers and better route runner and all those things, but Randy Moss,
6'4" and ran like a deer.
Thank you.
And if you don't think so, take a look at the 07 Patriots. Take a look at his stats, by the way, with the 07 Patriots.
Yeah, the only time they gave that guy a true number 1.
Right.
And they just set every record in the league.
Right, highest scoring offense of all time.
Right.
Until that last Sunday. Got to block the 4 up front. Bad things happen if you can't block the 4 guys up front.
Boy, oh boy, ain't that the truth.
Bob Papa, who called that game on Giants radio as the voice of the Giants, he's also the face and voice of Champions Tour Golf. He's in town for the Chubb Classic, and he will join us next on Miller and Moulton. Sammy Watkins at 8:25, Fox Sports Radio.
You're clear.
We're on the phone with our good friend Tim Meister, owner of the Floor Meisters in Naples. TJ, we hear you've added several new colors of Core-Tec to your great lineup of products at the store. Tell us more about that.
We just ordered 5 new colors of Core-Tec for our stock. All nice, light, beautiful colors for Southwest Florida. That'll bring
I'm sorry,
our
did you say
total
something?
of
I had to cue down because I'm queuing up the next segment.
No. We were joking about
and it's not just the many colors of Core-Tec that you have. You also have
said,
other
hey,
Core-Tec
TJ.
products as well.
We also carry the Core-Tec Stone product. Looks like tile, looks like stone, but it's Core-Tec, so you get the softness, quietness, and the easy installation to go with it. We also have Core-Tec wood, look of wood, real wood.
Oh yeah, he does not like anger. I'm telling you, it freaks him out.
If you haven't been to the Floor Meisters, you really owe it to yourself to visit the store.
There's no doubt there,
6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco. Or go online, floormeisters.com.
He's very sensitive.
Floormeisters.com.
You don't have to lie to us.
What do I want for Valentine's
Oh.
Day?
We know you haven't done anything for Valentine's Day. You're putting
It is
it
the
off
funniest
to the
thing
very
that's
last second.
He was so scared.
You're a guy. That's what you do. Well, let Miller and Moulton help you out.
Since Valentine's Day is around the corner.
Listen to the show every morning beginning at 6 a.m.
That dog
You
is-
could win a
I mean,
$50 gift
put
card
her
to
in
the
the basket,
Pewter Mug
Frank.
in Naples. Just listen to Miller and Moulton and win.
It was like,
from the station
look,
that
it was
doesn't
the
just
weirdest thing.
procrastinate.
How they know?
Blatantly don't do what we're supposed to. Southwest Florida's
And
Fox
he's always
Sports
been that way
Radio.
around baby.
If you've
when
been
the-
denied
when,
Social
the
Security
kids were all
benefits,
here over
here's something you need
MLK
to
there.
know. The law
He-
firm you choose
with Emma,
makes a
with the little
big
one. He
difference.
was very
In
protective
fact,
of her.
Morgan
It's
&
the weirdest
Morgan
damn
wins
thing.
more than the national average in recovering Social Security for clients that were denied. That means that when you hire our lawyers, you have a better chance of recovering than with the average lawyer. And that's a really big deal. If you were denied Social Security benefits, call us. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Dial pound law on your cell. Pound law, that's all.
Offices, Fort Myers and Naples.
WFSX AM from Naples to Cape Coral and all of Southwest Florida. 103.3 Fox Sports Radio.
We are Fox Sports.
What's trending now on Fox Sports Radio is sponsored by Stevie Tomato's Sports Page in Naples, Fort Myers, and Cape Coral.
By the way, that's well played there, Hops. Hey, Spiro Agnew, ever kill a guy?
No, sir.
That's just
nice.
We need Miller and Moulton. I really need to get on this shirt thing. That'd be another one. Miller and Moulton. Ever kill a guy with a question mark? Another great shirt. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. How the heck are you? And did you ever kill a guy? Question mark. That could be our weekend poll. What T-shirt would you most want to see?
Got your guess.
Okay, thank you.
There's only one way to wake up in the morning.
How the heck are you?
Yep, that's it. Miller,
Shelter from the storm, huh?
and Moulton.
Oh, come on.
Like a song.
Get it, dude. Top of the hour.
Fox Sports Radio.
All guests appear on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Hotline. Goldberg-law.com.
Yes! Oh, I like it. It's up to you now. It's up to you. I like it.
Now, the best local sports show this town has ever heard. Here's Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
Couple minutes past 8 o'clock on this beautiful Thursday in paradise that we call Southwest Florida. Miller and Moulton on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. Sammy Watkins, the hometown guy made good, Super Bowl champion and Grand Marshal of the Edison Festival of Light Parade, Saturday night downtown Fort Myers. He will join us coming up in a little less than 25 minutes.
Not that it'll never happen to me, but that is one of the high honors in life.
Oh, yeah.
When you're the Grand Marshal of a parade.
Of your hometown parade.
Right, you are. Well, when you're named the Grand Marshal of a parade, that's
big deal.
It's a big deal.
He's a big deal.
I don't know if he's worked on the wave yet. We'll have to maybe we have to ask Sammy how his wave is.
All right, we'll do. He's the radio voice of the Giants. He also does the Morning Drive show with Charlie Weiss on NFL radio. But, he really gets to enjoy being the TV face and voice of the Champions Tour, and calling the Chubb Classic this weekend on the Golf Channel is one Bob Papa. Bob, first off, thanks for your time. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to be here in Southwest Florida for sure.
Well, I was going to say, to make you feel even a little bit better, I don't know if you're at the course yet or if you're just looking out your hotel room, but it is sleeting in about 34 where you live. So to make the coffee taste even a little bit better for you, I thought I'd give you that weather update.
Well, that's good to know. We actually left on Saturday and did a little side trip to Disney and Universal. So I'm unfamiliar with the weather back home and not paying any attention to it.
Good for you.
Well, your wallet's a little bit lighter, too, because the Mouse is undefeated, untied, and unscored upon throughout history, Bob. We all know that. Before we get to the Chubb, when you look at the Giants and this transition, and obviously Eli gone, and we moved on to Daniel Jones and Barkley and what's going on there, what is your assessment of where the Giants are and what they have to do between now and the fall to be competitive in that division?
Well, I think they put together a really good coaching staff. I've been impressed with what Joe Judge has done as far as assembling a staff. So that's positive number one, because I think some of their shortcomings last year were they were poorly coached in certain areas. And I don't necessarily mean Pat Shurmur, the head coach. I think they didn't have some of the better assistant coaches. And I think fans don't really understand how important that is in the landscape of things, coaching guys up, using the right technique and everything else. With that said, if this team has to address the pass rush situation, too many times last year they were in games where they had the lead, in the middle of that 9-game losing streak, you could make a case that 6 of them were winnable. But their defense was just awful. It was poorly coordinated. It was poorly coached. and I think that'll be an immediate upgrade. But they need some talent. If you can't get to the quarterback in today's NFL, you can't win.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The Giants, who have a ton of money, and there's going to be some pass rushers out there, hopefully Chris Jones, Clowney. I mean, they could make a big splash if, in fact, they want to. Your Champions Tour work, is there somebody in the NFL that you can compare Longer to? I mean, for goodness sakes, he's almost 65, and he might still be the best player on this tour. I mean, you know, can we call him the Brady of the Champions Tour? He's amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. And every time you think that he's ready to, I know over the last 2 years we've watched at different points in the season, like, you know, there's the crack in the armor for Langer that we haven't seen in the past. And, you know, he's the greatest on-course self-corrector I've seen. And I don't think on any tour a couple of years ago, any tour, if you needed someone to make like a 12-foot putt to win or tie or whatever, would you take anybody other than Bernhard Langer? Now, last year he had a quote-unquote down year, and all he did was win twice and finish fourth in the Schwab Cup standings. So until he doesn't win, and he's won every single year that he's been out on tour, 13 straight years, you can't count him out. But, I mean, he's been in contention in the last two, and he's had a chance to win both of them.
It's a heck of a field, Bob. I mean, it is. I guess it's the point that we all know we're getting older, because I'm just going through the Chubb field, and you can just look at a row as it's alphabetized and go, man, this is. I mean, this is always one of the better tournaments on the Champions Tour. I don't know if the field has been this strong on the Champions Tour maybe since when it started of what you have right now. I mean, this is boy, it's certainly different than a few years ago. At least it seems to me. There are some really quality players now on the Champions Tour.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of guys that have come out over the last few years that have definitely helped. You know, World Golf Hall of Famer Retief Goosen is very passionate about the tour. He's a big supporter of the tour, and obviously he had an amazing rookie season last year. And then Ernie Els made his debut in Hawaii, and he's very committed to playing this tour as well moving forward. So I think the field is definitely strengthened. I think it's this event, the Chubb, I would say this is, in my opinion, it's one of the more marquee events during the course of the year. There are certain ones that you can point to that just about everybody plays or wants to play in, and then there's others where you can tell guys are not all that interested and may want to skip. This is one that I think this fan base down here, the golf courses down here are conducive to guys feeling like they're still playing the regular tour, and they love coming here. And, yeah, you're right. It's a tremendous field. 6 World Golf Hall of Famers in the field this week?
And on top of that, also, just a lot of guys that are fan favorites. I mean, which is part of this tour that, you know, I could argue there may be more fan favorites on this tour than there is even on the PGA Tour, in which, because there's more of a resume, we've gotten to know them, and now we're of a certain age where we even have more in common. There was a time in which we were concerned about who the next group of golfers are. If Phil doesn't play the Champions Tour much, if at all, think the tour's okay? Because he indicated that he may not be one of those guys that plays.
Yeah, they all say that. They all say that. And you know what happens? Here's what happens. They get into their late 40s, and they still have game. But suddenly they find themselves missing more cuts than they used to miss. And they find themselves finishing T18 or T12, T38. And they didn't become Hall of Famers and great players without this burning passion to win. Win is important. And at the end of the day, listen, one of the problems that the Champions Tour has, let's not kid ourselves, is when it was in its heyday, those guys could use the money. They could use the second, time at the trough. I mean, does Phil Mickelson need a penny once he turns 50, from this tour?
Depends on who we bet on the Super Bowl, Bob, other than that.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. But they all Ernie Els can't wait to get out here because he was tired of finishing, barely making a cut and finishing tied for 48th at Bay Hill or whatever it is. So they come out here. They're playing against and with people that they grew up playing against. So, there's a heck of a generation gap when you think about what. There's no other sport that has a generation gap than golf, like we see. I mean, all the other sports, other than a Brady or a Breeze, where guys play until they're 40, 41, here guys are playing until they're 50 against 21-year-olds that just came off the NCAAs. So I think they like getting back out here, and the competitive juices get going. And I know Ernie Els was tremendously disappointed that he didn't win in week one, and Goosen is pissed that he didn't win the Schwab Cup last year. And he said, I'm coming back this year even more focused. So I think you'll see Phil do a Jack Nicklaus kind of schedule where he plays a bunch of some of the majors. I'm sure he'll always play the U.S. Senior Open because that will get him into the U.S. Open if he wins. And some other select events, if the Senior British is at St. Andrews, he'll play that. And I'm sure Stricker will get him to play in Madison, Wisconsin. So I'm sure he'll play a limited schedule, but they do want to win.
And I think not only winning, I think Bob got to another point. We know George McNeil pretty well from these parts, and when he just played in Bermuda or the Bahamas or one of those tournaments, the guys that are all in their 40s all hang out together. I mean, when they're out, there are so few of them that are of that age. I think the part that Bob mentions that Phil will realize, and a lot of them realize, is that they're with their contemporaries. And being around people that you like and are comfortable with is a big part of it. And it seems that that this tour has a lot of that. Is there still, Tuesday used to be the gambling day in the Pro-Am, and Lanny Watkins was, they always said the best Tuesday player. Is there any of that feel still on the Champions Tour where these guys aren't afraid to, I don't know, have their own games from time to time, if you know what I mean, Bob?
Well, these guys, it's amazing because I don't think they do it like they used to do it. I don't think they have Tuesday gambling games like they used to because remember something, they're playing a Wednesday and Thursday Pro-Am because the tournaments start on Friday, 3-day event, but they're required, they have to play in these Pro-Ams or else they get DQ'd from the tournament. And some tournaments they have to play both days, some they only have to play one. But what you'll see is these guys are like golf, they love the sport. So after they play a Pro-Am or on a day that they're not playing in the Pro-Am, you can go to, which we do a lot in our downtime, is go to other local golf courses, local clubs to go play. And you'll go to a place, and I wouldn't be surprised this week at Calusa Pines if you wouldn't see, a half dozen to a dozen guys out there just playing. And I'm sure that's when they start playing the money games.
The problem, Bob, and I think most everybody who golfs in Southwest Florida realizes this, that there's no chance for 99.9% of us to ever see anybody on Calusa Pines because they won't let us in.
Oh my God.
I would love to see them at Calusa Pines. I think a lot of us would love to just walk on Calusa Pines. But it's a great point.
Hey, let me tell you something. It's spectacular. I have a friend of mine. I'm a member of Baltusrol in New Jersey, and one of my buddies is a member there, and he's a member of Calusa. It's a pretty cool place. But you got Naples National, you got Old Collier, and then the list goes on of just great places down here to play. And you'll see guys going out and playing a lot of different places.
Bob, between your contacts and just your gut feeling, I mean, this a month out is shaping up as a quarterback free agency / offseason, the likes of which we've never seen and may never see again. Just your gut feeling as to whether or not this is going to be, more hype than substance, whether everybody's basically going to go back to their old stomping grounds, or do you think that we're going to get the chaos that potentially could happen at that position?
It's a great question. And Coach Weiss and I have talked about it. Your gut tells you Brady's going to wind up in New England. Breeze will wind up back where he belongs. We know Rivers is not going to be with the Chargers anymore. But there's something interesting about this Brady thing.
Yes.
That I don't know. It wouldn't be shocking to me if suddenly Tom Brady was playing somewhere else next year. Would it shock you?
No, Bob, it doesn't. This is what I've been saying anyway for months. It doesn't make any sense while Brady strategically lined this up to be a 100% free agent unless there was a real reason why he wanted it. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. So, what's he angling to do? I got to believe it's something.
So let me ask you this. Can I throw a hypothetical at you?
Sure.
All right, so Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer, and he has obliterated, all these records and everything else. But, let's face it, he's had a hand in some of these playoff losses. Even the one 2 years ago where, there was the call that wasn't, which led to, he mismanaged the clock, and then he's the guy that threw the interception in overtime that allowed the Rams to then go win the game. If you were the New Orleans Saints, because they got a team that is built to win, would you give Brady what he wanted for 2 years? Because he's one guy will not make those mistakes in the big spot.
And it's so funny you say that, Bob, because, I don't have a lot of sources in this world, but I was told that there's been a hard pitch made by New Orleans for Brady. And just because the talk that Brees is retiring it. There are a lot of teams that I think would take that chance, but I think you're on to something with New Orleans that they would be in a good spot for that. But I'm with you I've always said at the end of the day he was going to be in New England. I've heard he's going to Tennessee, but the New Orleans one makes sense. I mean, I'll throw it back at you. What would you do, Bob? If you were Tom Brady with all the cards, where would you go?
I'd be concerned about what's going on in New England if I was him. The offensive line coach retired. They had some issues on the O-line. They have not been in Belichick's time there. He has really not. One of the areas that the position group that they have not been very good at drafting is wide receivers. And this and N'Keal Harry, they took him in the first round. And I know he's got to learn the system and all that other stuff. But, I watched Odell Beckham Jr. miss the first 4 games of his rookie season and miss all of training camp and then have more catches and more receiving yards than any rookie in the history of the sport. So I'm not buying the whole system thing. New England has whiffed on some receivers. They have no weapons. They have no tight end. Now, if they go sign Austin Hooper and they can add another wide receiver, maybe that's intriguing for Brady. But you go to New Orleans, he's got a veteran coach that's won with a no-nonsense kind of attitude, and look at the weapons that exist in New Orleans. It's pretty darn good.
Yeah, there have been whispers out there for a while that Brees is going to retire, and he was kind of, freelancing with Fox on the Super Bowl. And, there's just so much out there, Bob, and I don't know if we're ever going to have this much out there about this position again. And we're talking about Brees and Brady. For goodness sakes.
That doesn't even get us into the Rivers and the Cam and all the other things that are out there.
It's good for Bob Papa and Charlie.
Not to mention the first 2 picks from the draft a couple of years ago in Winston and Mariota.
Right. Well, it's good for you and Charlie because otherwise you'd really have nothing else to talk about in the morning. Bob,
Florida weather. He loves talking about the weather.
Yes, he does. Look, I think he's on the East Coast of Florida. Bob, thanks for making time for us. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your week covering the Chubb for Golf Channel, and hopefully we can talk again.
All right, guys. Great to be on with you.
Bob Papa, kind enough to give us a few minutes of his time. He's the radio voice of the New York Giants. He and Charlie Weiss do a morning show on NFL radio, and he is the face and voice of Champions Tour Golf on the Golf Channel in town for the Chubb Classic tomorrow through Sunday.
Really happy to have Bob on. And I would have him on every day because I enjoy his show. I enjoy what he has to say, but I don't know if we've ever been big-timed quite like that. They're out playing Calusa Pines and Naples National and Old Collier. Okay. Yeah, and we're playing Fort Myers Country Club. And San Carlos Country Club and, any other place that we can get on until the summer comes and we can actually play a golf course.
He just rolls in a little different circle than us, that's all.
Son of
I mean, he's a member of Baltusrol.
Right.
It's a good little
I'm a member of Baltusrol.
Good little track. I thought I saw Bob, actually, over the weekend. Thought I saw him getting takeout somewhere. I didn't bother him, though.
Well, probably just finished playing golf at a really exclusive club.
No, it sounds like he just got back from Disney and he was exhausted. But Bob Papa, kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton. Sammy Watkins. That's Super Bowl champion Sammy Watkins.
Yes, it is.
Wide receiver, Kansas City Chiefs. Local guy made good. He will join us next here on Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
You're clear.
Our sound is a sound that makes you stop. And listen.
Listen to me and you listen well.
It's a collective voice that calls out to you, the fans.
We get a lot of zany people that call in.
This
Florida light
is our sound.
Melrose hair, but it's all gray. You guys probably
They're
60, and I mean just a great head of hair.
Crazy stuff happens. That's all
And
I'm saying.
very,
You can only get it here.
very native. Pretty much sums that up, right?
Sports Radio.
He,
This is Mark Miller
I
from
don't-
Tim
somehow he
Tracing
just
Motors,
decided
and I'm
he was
with
gonna
Wes
bash
Dobbins, a very satisfied Tim Tracing Motors customer.
Thanks, Mark. Over the past 20 years, my family and I have purchased at least 17 vehicles from Tim Tracing Motors. Everything from Beamers to town cars to Cadillacs to cars for our kids to the Toyota Avalon and Highlander that we currently own. We've always been impressed by the thoughtful, straightforward way that Tim and Matt do business. We especially appreciate that they're so picky about the quality of cars that they bring to the market. They have always stood behind their cars.
Just got
and
a
that's
quick
why we'll
question.
continue
Right
to
after
be
this break,
loyal
I'm just
Tim
going to go
Tracing
right in
Motors
with the
customers.
audio.
Yes, right on. We are not going to talk at all this segment, okay? You're just going to run this, start this whole thing is encapsulated with you, okay?
Okay, I
All
got
right,
it.
good deal.
7900. At Tim Tracing Motors, they are confident. When you meet them, you'll agree that you've never been to a dealership like theirs before. Visit online at timmotors.com. That's timmotors.com, or call to set up an appointment at 275-7900. 275-7900.
They put a microphone
11 years ago, it began with an invasion.
Well, of course, look, because now he knows I'm right. And I've won the argument, and he's got nothing to go.
Funk from
Well,
beyond the grave.
but what I say is right. I said, of course it is. That's exactly what I said. I said, of course it is.
Fest 11 hits Punta Gorda for 2 big shows, February 14th and 15th. Funkfest
It is
11
so great to
hosts
give
2
that to
stages
people, though,
featuring
because
11
they
bands
just-
over 2 days, and featuring the return of Here Come the Mummies. 2 days of incredible talent,
Oh,
including
Frank,
the
what are you
amazing
going to do? Oh, we're going to
Coed
sleep in tomorrow,
Lettuce.
Frankie. It's
Also
going to be
featuring
glorious.
Robert Randolph and the Family Band, The Main Squeeze, The Nth Power, Funk U, Voodoo Visionary, Joe Marcinek Band, guest starring Nikki Gillespie, Jamar Woods of The Fritz, and Tony Hall of Dumpsta Funk, Dr. Bacon, The Head Tones, and Jamar Woods. It's Funkfest's 11th year, and it's a guaranteed good time.
I am.
With a huge food truck and vendor village to keep you
Told
partying.
Kevin, I
Get
said, I'm
tickets
playing
and
golf
showtimes
tomorrow.
at
You playing with the client? I said, yeah. He said,
funkfestpuntaGorda.com.
hell you are. I
FunkfestpuntaGorda.com.
don't know what to tell you. I'm playing with the
No matter
client.
where you're boating, with Towboat US, you're covered by the world's largest towing fleet.
I go
with
fire
over
me.
300
I click
ports
right, go fire me.
nationwide. Your
I go
local
fire me.
Towboat US companies in Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties are here to help 24/7, 365
No, I
days a
actually
year.
got like for the
Inland,
you know
river,
one of the
Telego,
one of the first people I met when I was actually doing this. They sent a designer in yesterday, and we're going to get a huge deal. So I mean, basically, I probably earned half my salary that I've pretty much earned 80% of my salary yesterday.
US, you're never stuck on the
Been there
water.
about
Wake up with Miller and Moulton weekdays at
been there
6
5
a.m.
months, and I think they'll make as much out of this deal as
Hey,
what
Sean
he's
here
making.
again for Cathedral Roofing Innovations.
And
look, my
from the
fellow
event I had,
Naples
someone else has already
homeowners,
come in with a
you
client.
should
I mean,
now
those
be
two would
seeing
cover my
homes with
almost
tile
cover the
roofs
year.
getting replaced in your
Then after
neighborhoods.
that, he can start
Now,
writing
this
me
is all a
checks.
result from Hurricane Irma.
'Cause
and the
then if I
damage
start
it
making the
caused
money,
to
I
an
won't ever.
estimated 75%
So I'm actually doing outside sales,
of
he'll
all
never see me.
tile
And I'll just look at him
roofs
and go, what do I
in
need to be here
Florida.
for?
And still,
Unless I have a
only
meeting with the
15%
client,
of
you're
you
not gonna
have
see me.
received your new tile roof. Your neighbors are now all increasing the value and the curb appeal of their homes with these new tile roofs.
I ended up
So
after
do
Kevin.
the
Somebody
same
stopped by
and call
BBG that we're
Cathedral
friends with.
Roofing
Kevin left, and I
Innovations.
sat with Jim. I said,
Cathedral
"You just-
Roofing
it sucks." I
Innovations,
go,
the
because
tile roof experts right here in Southwest Florida. Now remember, just because you don't have any leaks, well, that doesn't mean you don't have any damage.
Your daughter
And with
just texted you.
Cathedral Roofing Innovations,
Yes.
you're going to get a great roofing company to come out, inspect
Said
your
I'll
roof for
listen to
damage.
something like
Just
that.
go
I
to
just saw your phone pop up to see what it was.
cathedralroofingnaples.com. That's cathedralroofingnaples.com.
License number CCC 1327875.
Pool need a checkup?
We're going to have
Call
about
the
4
doctor.
minutes
The
when we come
Pool
back,
Doctor.
tops, which is fine. This was
here.
There was part of me we were doing. I almost texted you and said, and I didn't know he was getting Bob. I'm like, when you ended, I'm like,
if you want the ultimate,
I almost
we can
texted you
add
and
a
said,
BioShield
keep this
for
going
UV
and we'll
water
break it and
disinfection.
run it the whole
We're a
8.
family company.
Because it was damn near to that point. I mean, he was,
been doing business.
wow, was he
The
good.
prescription is the Pool Doctor for award-winning pool service, repairs, and unheard of $39 diagnostic calls. That's mypooldoctor.com or 239-574-1133. State certified CPC 057088.
Perfect. 4 minutes. Yeah, 4 or 5 minutes. No.
Now back to Miller and Moulton.
All right, now we're getting somewhere.
No. This is Miller and Moulton.
And welcome back to Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. The good, the bad, and the ugly coming up in a little less than 20 minutes' time. But between now and then, it is our distinct pleasure to welcome on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Law Firm Hotline, Super Bowl champion Sammy Watkins. How does that sound?
Man, like a dream, man. It sounds amazing, though, man, to win a Super Bowl and to make a couple big plays in the Super Bowl and just the whole season, how it went. Just the best feeling to be in that category as Super Bowl winners. That's something hard to do.
Can't imagine that phrase will ever get old to you, and it's always going to be said with your name. The game, leading up to the game, I mean, you're from here. There's so much pressure on the Super Bowl. You had to buy a bunch of extra tickets. I'm sure everybody who ever knew you was trying to get a hold of you. How hectic was Super Bowl week, Sammy?
Oh, it was insane. Like I said, I think it was one of the best moments of my life. For having my grandparents, having my family, my wife, my kids, my parents, to have every coach that ever coached me be there and just to watch the game, and then had to have the freaking whole South Florida come to the game. I had all type of people come down from Fort Myers. I'm pretty sure Naples. So this is literally like one of the best moments of my life to have all that support and then to go win it, man. I think this is like the best dream ever.
Sammy Watkins, of course, the pride of South Fort Myers High School. Sammy, I don't know about too many people from Naples. They may still hold a grudge about that state quarterfinal,
I hope not, man. I think a lot of good guys in that game, I think, is even in the NFL. And, Naples been doing it big since they've been winning all these championships. It's a good feeling going down there and get a win, but I hope they're not too upset at South Fort Myers.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Did it ever become just another game? You talked more. When people talk about watching the film, they talk that maybe you talked a little bit more to your teammates in that game than most games. So, did it ever become just another game, or was it always the Super Bowl, even from the first whistle?
Honestly, I felt like it was just another game, but the energy, the hype of it, we can't ignore that as players. So we definitely turned into something bigger, because it's the last game of the year. And we definitely hit a hype and a noise, and we could say the Super Bowl is one of the best games ever in life. And I know we played 17 games through the season, but just that feeling, that urge to have one and win one, and how hard we guys out there playing, man, it's just amazing.
This will be the second parade for Sammy in as many weeks. Obviously, the Super Bowl victory parade in Kansas City last week. And this Saturday night, downtown Fort Myers, the Edison Festival of Light Parade. And Sammy returns home as a conquering hero, and he's also the Grand Marshal of the parade. Take us to the Kansas City parade, by the way. I don't know what you were thinking going in to that day last week, but all those people, all that celebration, did it live up to everything you had ever dreamed about?
I think it honestly surpassed everything I dreamed or ever did, as far as football. I did some great things at South, never won it, did some great things at Clemson, never won it. And then to get on the Kansas City Chiefs and literally win it, and then to go to the parade, and it's literally over, I think, 2 or 3 million people out there. And, we had that opportunity, that chance to be kids and get off the bus and jump around, be wild, you know what I mean, and have a couple beers and just enjoy that moment. And that was one of the moments that I think every player and coach can take back with us forever because we have video clips of it. And that was very big.
Patrick Mahomes was the MVP of the Super Bowl. Which player was the MVP of the parade?
The parade, I would say every wide receiver. I think we had less guys, but we kind of jumped it off with, we just started raging, you know what I mean? Because like I said, we don't get another opportunity. Then we had all the fans out there. We got off the buses, guys. I think it was kind of snowing, guys taking off their shirts. So it was surreal, and it was one of the most prolific moments, and I think in a wide receiver, because we literally had coaches running off, DBs, linemen, chugging beers. You got Pat chugging beers. You got Andy Reid chugging beers. So I think it was big.
Sammy Watkins, kind enough to join us here on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Hotline. Much was made of you guys wanting to win it for Andy. You've been blessed. You've had terrific coaches and terrific men, quite frankly, going back to South Fort Myers and Redhead and Hampton and Dixon, and then obviously Dabo at Clemson. And Andy Reid, what is different about him? What is special about Andy?
In this league, it's kind of weird, because it's money involved, and I just feel as money can break or change a coach or any player that's playing out there on that field. And I think over 20 years, every guy I talked to him or played for him or coached for him, you just hear so much good things about him. Then when I go meet him and actually sit down and talk to him, I just feel like he was another great coach, another great person. And he's a real person. He cares about everybody on that team. He cares about the little things, and that would kind of make me want to go out there and play hard for him. And I just feel as, man, he got a real good heart, a good soul, and a good spirit. And he literally told me the plan they had for me as far as coming there playing in my career. And he said, we're going to get a Super Bowl. And I think that's one of the most realest things you can do as a coach. And when I was even down, he always lift me up, with just staying confident. And you are great. You are a number one receiver. All these good things that he helped me with. Because, without getting the ball, you kind of get weary here and there. But he always helped me stay positive mentally. And literally, he helped my career. And I think that's one of the best coaches that I ever had as far as, the other guys that coached me.
Sammy, I had read about the pitch that he and Brett Veach made saying that you were going to win championships. I guess I would just imagine that anybody talking to a player would give a speech similar to that. What made you think when Andy Reid said it was genuine?
Like I said, I think it was the conversations and what he wanted out of me. And he told me my plan. And literally, I think only one other person that ever did that was Coach Dabo. And I just kind of reverted back to that. Like, I just have unbelievable faith that he was going to put me in the best situation, but also put everybody in the best situation to win. And, the way he coached us, the way he talked the whole season just kind of added up with everything he was saying, even in training camp. And then it got to the point I was like, man, this is kind of insane. How did Coach Reid foresee all this crazy stuff? You know what I mean? So I just have unbelievable faith because everything he said we was going to do this season, we did it. And that's kind of rare.
Sammy, how tough was it for you if it was a year ago? You left the Rams to come to the Chiefs. The Rams end up in the Super Bowl. You guys lose the AFC Championship game in overtime at home. And so you had the Super Bowl in which you could have been in it either number of ways. And then, so was it tough putting last year aside and coming into this year? And then Mahomes gets hurt in October. I mean, how tough has the last year been before it all gelled?
Oh, it was hurtful. Just to go to the third round and lose and literally thought we could have possibly won it. It was just a couple calls. And then to watching the Rams, I was honestly happy for those guys because I've been around those guys for a year. And Coach Sean McVay really helped me out. I felt like be healthy the whole season. I scored 9 touchdowns, I think, when I was there. A lot of great players. So I was honestly happy for them. But for when we lost, man, that was like my pride, my heart, my soul. Just like I was in the shell for like 3-4 weeks. I had to bounce back, and but ultimately, man, just happy for everyone that got to play in the Super Bowl. And then, leading to Pat getting hurt and having to fight back and having to win without him, I think, 1 or 2 games. And that was hard. But as we know, athletes, we all get hurt, and a lot of players have to step up and make those plays. And, when he came back, I think we won 9 in a row. And that's what you call a winner right there.
Sammy, obviously you've had some injuries, but I know you said all players get hurt. But at the end of the year, you talk to players that don't win the Super Bowl, they say they're hurt for a few months. Does it hurt a hell of a lot less this year than it's ever hurt before at the end of a season?
Oh, man, you just said I don't think I'm hurt at all. I don't think I need no tweaks, no nothing. My body feel amazing. I literally talked to my agent like, man, something got to be going on. Like, my body not aching. I'm not being lazy, lounging around. Every day I'm waking up at like 7:30 and literally going to work out. So, man, I hope Super Bowl add a couple more years to my career so I can play about 15 to 20 years. And, man, like I said, this is one of the best moments and best feelings of my life.
Man, that's a hell of a drug winning the Super Bowl, because you gave an interview leading up to the Super Bowl going, man, I may need some time off just to heal up and rest up. That's a hell of a drug you guys have bottled up right now.
I think it is, man. Like I said, I think it's really my whole family, my kids, my wife. We just been on a high, and it's one of the best feelings ever, and I hope this high stays. We possibly can go win it again, and I might have another healthy career. I'm at another healthy season. And just stay on this up right now and ride this wave.
Well, I mean, obviously that's something you're going to get to, because we know about the contract and the business will set in at some point. How do you handle the business decisions? How do you try not to let it be personal when these things go on?
Just going through being traded before and, knowing how the business works, I really don't take heed to it. I honestly think it'll work out in the best favor of myself and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I really allow my agent to do all the talking and the work. But, at this point, I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm praying that, that everything happened for the betterment of us winning another championship. I think if we can get the key players back and, we can, whatever they do with Pat and sign the key guys back, and we can win another one. And I talked to the coach, and that's what the objective was. And all the other stuff, the contract and all the other stuff, I kind of leave to the agency, and I just focus on football and hope for the best.
Sammy, obviously you're the pride of Southwest Florida, and you're going to be a Grand Marshal of the Edison Festival of Light Parade Saturday night. At the beginning of last decade, you were graduating from South Fort Myers High School. I mean, have you had a moment even to reflect? Okay, and maybe it'll be when you're riding in the parade that it's been a hell of a 10 years. And what is it that growing up in Southwest Florida means to you?
Yeah, like you said, every time I go back, I kind of reflect. When I go back to my grandparents, my neighborhood. When I go work out with one of my high school coaches or see one of my high school friends, I always look back and be like, man, life is moving so fast. And saying sometimes we forget to stay in the moment and enjoy the moments. And it's so surreal that I'm going back and having a parade in my hometown and being in front of, the 239 and my people in general is like one of the biggest blessings. And growing up there, was I think the best thing I ever could do. I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly in my neighborhood, and I think that pivotal point helped me out, and it showed me you do have good people in this world that want to see you do successful. Just showing how many people came to the games. I think just all around South Florida and Fort Myers and Naples, we all have some special people.
Sammy, you talked about it. It was obviously very different and goes pretty fast. Was there a moment, you talked about being a pro and getting traded, was that it? Was there a moment at Clemson in your junior year maybe where you kind of knew it was time for the next step? Was there ever an it moment where you kind of realized you went from being the South Fort Myers High kid and the Clemson Tiger to going, this is now a job? Did that ever occur to you, or did that not happen until you were in the NFL?
It didn't happen until I got in the NFL, and I think that's kind of what that made me back off or even liking football at that point, because I felt like as a kid, I was able to be a kid my whole career in high school. I was able to have fun with it. I was able to be a kid at Clemson. And then when you get in the NFL, you know, you might be bunch of guys that's 35, 36, 32, 27, 28. And, you know, it's all about the seriousness of it. It's no playing. It's all about keeping your body right, eating the right way, going home, going to sleep. And felt like that kind of took the fun away from me. Then you're talking about money, get involved, millions of dollars. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on within your family. A lot of things changing in life. I didn't like that aspect of it. I just kind of went in the shell. And, you know, when you go in the shell and you're negative about just about everything, injuries started to happen, and other injuries started piling on. And then once I started to just accept, you know what I mean, that I was chosen and blessed to do this, and that I can have fun with it no matter how other guys have been treating it, and really thank God and thank Jesus and thank everyone that helped me get to the point that I was at. I think since then I've grown a lot to love football and literally have fun and literally allow myself to be that kid that I was in Clemson and enjoy it for what it is instead of worrying about the money, the contracts, and millions of dollars. I think that takes a toll on God's mental health, and it's soon take it. If you're not right mentally, your body's not gonna be right. And I think I'm so happy that what space I'm in now to where I can play football and forget about the money and what's going on within those confinements of, you know what I mean, contracts and all the other stuff.
Have you watched the game since you won? And how much of it do you vividly remember? Because we've had conversations over the years with people who played in the Super Bowl, and oftentimes they say it was a blur. Just wondering, have you watched it, and how much of it are you still holding on to?
Definitely did watch it, but I think I'm like the other people, man. It's like that game ended so quick, and it's like, boom, what the freak just happened? And then, you know, you just go on from there to partying, to clubbing, to being with your guys, and, man, it was such a blur. Some things I don't remember, and certain things I'm like, man, did that happen? And, man, I was moving fast. But in the game, it felt like I was moving, like, really slow. So, yeah, it's definitely a moment that I might always go back to and watch that game and be like, man, we really, Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, we really won the Super Bowl. That's something big and special in this whole world, and that's one of the things that's very I'm going to hold on to forever.
We all see a quarterback you play with and the throws he makes and the talent he has. What's the one thing we don't see that you do that makes him even more special?
I think his confidence, his mindset. You know, it's different from when you go on with a quarterback out there that, you know what I mean, that literally don't want to take over the game. This kid want to take over the game. He want to throw big balls, long balls. He want to win, and I literally see him get down 3-4 times in the playoffs and literally be like, hey, we're going to win this game. We're going to come back and win this game, talking to everybody, being positive. He never seemed to be rattled. He gets up, I think, 4:30 in the morning every single day and leave the stadium at 7 or 8, going over hours. You know what I mean? I'm the type of guy that might get in at 8 and leave at like 3 or 4. This guy getting up at 4:30 and literally taking on the whole game plan, what he don't like, what he do like, knowing every coverage, knowing every check. And I think he's only 24 years old. I think that's big that's special. And to literally walk around with the weight of the world on your shoulders, and I mean, everybody knowing who you are, seeing you out, you can't eat, you study signing stuff for millions of people, you're staying humble. I think that's somebody that's a special kid, and he was chosen to do what he's doing now.
Did you know he was going to you? Was that called for you on the game-winning drive there when you beat Sherman to the inside for the big play? Was that designed for you?
Definitely was designed. Like I said, I think, you know, once you're in that moment and you're kind of connected and you kind of know that feeling like, okay, you're reading the coverage. I think this kid, like I said, he's brilliant. He's reading the safety. The safety shade over to Tyreek Hill. And I'm in the same mindset, like, oh, the ball is going to come to me. I seen me and Sherman one-on-one, so I did my best move ever to where I had to beat him inside, and, you know, and me and Pat connected on one of, I would think, the biggest plays of the game.
You talked about watching Davante Adams make a similar move and where he had vulnerability. Does the rookie Sammy Watkins make that play?
No, I don't think he would have been ready for the moment or even probably looked at the coverage and thinking the ball come to him. I think that guy would have been more, I'm going to go outside release and, he's going to throw the ball to someone else. And I understood the situation that we was in. I think we were on the 40 or the 50. That was kind of our shot play. And I think, early in my career, I probably would have, just took a bad release and thinking he's not throwing me the ball to where now I know he's going to throw me the ball. I know I have an opportunity to get the ball. And that's why I think the difference between being a rookie and where I'm at now, I actually know the game. I know coverages, and I know how to get open in different situations.
Sammy, first off, thanks so much for your time. Secondly, congratulations. Third, soak up a return to the 239 and being the Grand Marshal of the Edison Festival of Light Parade Saturday night. And on a personal note, my daughter went to South, and she was a freshman.
Man, that's amazing.
She was a freshman when you were a freshman at Clemson, and the very time you came back to school when you were on break, she asked you to autograph something, and you did. You autographed like a bow in her hair. And she has gotten rid of most everything from high school except for that bow. And I called her after you won the Super Bowl and said, that bow just got worth a lot more money.
For sure. Till I say hi.
Will do. Sammy, all the best. Thanks so much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sammy Watkins, Grand Marshal of the Hometown Parade. Mark? Life doesn't get a whole lot better than that when you really think about it.
No, that's called being on top, David.
And Sammy Watkins kind enough to join us on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Law Firm hotline. Local people, local practice, local knowledge, Goldberg-Law.com. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and what's on tap as we put this Thursday to bed. Thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
Aaron Judge deletes a post congratulating Jose Altuve of the MVP in 2017.
That'll serve him.
Dun. Take that.
Boom. Deleted.
Yeah. Now they got punished.
Right.
Did the Astro players get punished? Yeah, Aaron Judge deleted a tweet congratulating Altuve.
Dan Patrick.
And here they are.
Sammy, when he says the good, the bad, and the ugly,
Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio
and
and FoxSportsFM.com.
Remember the soap dish? Well, get ready for the soap dish Down and Dirty when Deanna Wallen from Naples Soap Company returns this Saturday and Sunday from 7 to 8 a.m.
He was
here
great.
on Fox Sports Radio. You'll hear the latest from experts in the health and wellness community, along with surprise
Sammy sounds
celebrity
really
guests.
comfortable and relaxed.
It's time to
Good
share
for him.
all those sudsy secrets, so get ready for some fun Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. on the soap dish Down and Dirty. Brought to you by Naples Soap Company and heard here on Fox Sports Radio.
Hi, it's Don Shula. Shula's Steakhouse is the perfect place for a perfect Valentine's Day. Make your reservations early.
Valentine's Day lunch will be extra special at Shula's with filet mignon medallions and cold water lobster tail with fresh asparagus and drawn butter. Shula's fabulous regular menu is always available. So make your reservations early for Thursday, February 14th lunch with your Valentine. Shula's in the Naples Hilton.
Feel your pain, brother. Nothing worse than the radio God playing havoc with your gear.
That's 430-4999.
That's one week. Doesn't matter how you find the latest in Dan Patrick or the guy doing
from 20 to
the
35
stock show.
feet.
There's
You'll
nothing
also
worse
find
on the
Four
planet.
Winds boats carry
than
one of the
you
best
can't get
warranties in the
that out of the
business. The Four Winds factory warranty is not just any 3-year warranty. It covers material, labor, and most boat components for 3 years. Four Winds boats, designed for families and saltwater. Boaters Landing, delivering the dream for over 30 years.
94.1 Lehigh. We are Fox.
Listen up, men. The biggest build-up to the most romantic night of your life is about to begin. Everywhere you look, you'll see red. Valentine's Day only comes once a year, so there's no excuse not to be completely ready. You can shop for the perfect gift and order beautiful red roses, but what will make your Valentine's night perfect can't be bought in a store. If you're having a difficult time performing because of ED or premature issues, don't let it ruin your night with your Valentine. Call the Fort Myers Men's Clinic and reclaim the fun and excitement that only intimacy can provide for you and her. Call 239-317-7777 317-7777 or online at FortMyersMen'sClinic.com. $99 office visit. That's it. And if it doesn't work, you get your money back. Guaranteed. The Fort Myers Men's Clinic, your key to a better life.
We're on the phone with our good friend Tim Meister, owner of the Four Meisters in Naples. TJ, we hear you've added several new colors of Core-Tec to your great lineup of products at the store. Tell us more about that.
We just ordered 5 new colors of Core-Tec for our stock. All nice, light, beautiful colors for Southwest Florida. That'll bring our total of 55 colors of Core-Tec in stock every day for purchase and take home.
And it's not just the many colors of Core-Tec that you have. You also have other Core-Tec products as well.
We also carry the Core-Tec Stone product. Looks like tile, looks like stone, but it's Core-Tec, so you get the softness, quietness, and the easy installation to go with it. We also have Core-Tec Wood, look of wood, real wood, but with a more stable core for Southwest Florida's humidity.
If you haven't been to the Floor Meisters, you really owe it to yourself to visit the store. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go online, floormeisters.com. That's floormeisters.com.
Why would someone take a chance on purchasing a frameless shower door from a big box store or an online discounter of an obscure brand, and then try and find a licensed, qualified installer to put it in, when you can deal directly with a local, family-owned business that consults, measures, manufactures, and installs their own award-winning brand of shower doors?
Some days they're
My
good,
Shower
some days
Door
they're not,
is a
but
family-owned and operated business and has the highest ratings on Angie's List and Home Advisor. Want to see more? Go to myShowerDoor.com.
From the best headlines,
the best,
to the worst.
It's the worst thing that ever happened to anybody ever.
Prepare yourself and hide the women and children. This is Mark Miller's Good, Bad, and Ugly on Fox Sports Radio.
You're live.
Never have I been so overloaded with good stories. And, you can always go to the Girl Scouts who make a lot of money selling their cookies by the weed dispensary. So I think that's old news now. So we'll go to New Mexico, where 6-year-old Carly Pencia just did a really good thing. When she was 4, she was watching TV and saw a St. Jude Children's Hospital commercial and asked her mom why the kids didn't have hair. When she found out that they have cancer, she decided she wanted to do what she could do to help. So for the last 2 years, she's not cut her hair, and earlier this week, she knocked off all of her hair at the age of 6 and then gave it to the Locks for Love so it could be donated to kids with cancer. That's pretty nice.
It is.
I'm always amazed that people think of such wonderful things at any age, and when these things would never cross my mind. Charleston, South Carolina for the bad. A new pool is a good thing for any home, and as people were digging out the swimming pool, they thought they had a dangerous discovery. The workers thought they had found a Civil War cannonball. Digging stopped. People were brought in. And it turned out that the cannonball was just a wood buoy. Not sure how they could mistake a piece of wood for a cannonball, but after all, it is South Carolina. Finally, the ugly. We'll go to Summerfield, Florida, where a 63-year-old Florida man didn't know where the auto parts store was. And he saw a Marion County Sheriff's deputy, so he flashed his headlights at him. Deputy pulled over and he said, do you know where the auto parts store is? It was at that point that Officer Batts, Calvin Batts, said, this guy's drunk.
Is he now?
And after getting him out of his car, the driver, Juan Zamora, said he'd had 2 shots of bourbon hours earlier, but he was legally disabled, but he agreed to take a sobriety test. And he had difficulty, which he blamed on the disability. It was during that time that the officer found a small bag with a powdery substance in his shirt front pocket. That was cocaine. He ended up blowing a .13, and his 15-year-old passenger didn't have a ride anymore because Juan was in jail. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, February the 13th. This is 2020.
Unbelievable.
What's on tap?
You get out of here and let me watch my program. And close the door when you go because I don't want those mosquitoes coming in here.
That goes back to the first hour in which I said Valentine's Day guys basically need to be the Astros this week. You have to decode the signs. whether you're supposed to go big, go middle, or go home with Valentine's Day and your gifts and what have you. So we came to the conclusion that when you bang the drum, all right, that means fastball. You need to go big.
Yep.
Everything else is off speed.
Starting to hurt my hand whacking that garbage can.
You adjust accordingly. It is NBA All-Star Weekend, but it starts officially tomorrow. There are still 2 games tonight in the NBA, one of them on TNT. That's the Clippers in Boston against the Celtics. College basketball tonight, not a ton of top 25 action. In fact, 2 games. One's on the Big Ten Network. And let's face it, the Big Ten is fascinating, if not good, not great. Iowa's at Indiana. Indiana's laying 2. I'll take the Hawkeyes and the points on the road. Yes, I will. The other one's on ESPN at 9 o'clock. It's Colorado at Oregon. Huge night in the NHL tonight. Mark, you're not going to believe this. The Florida Panthers are on national television.
What?
The Flyers are in Fort Lauderdale to take on the Panthers. And
that's a good game.
It's at 7 o'clock. It's on NBC. SN, the 2 teams separated by 3 points in the standings. Lightning in action at home tonight against Edmonton. Maybe that one will be on Fox Sports Florida somewhere. There is a 9:30 NBCSN game. It is Ovechkin in Colorado against
That's a good double dip right there.
It really is.
That's 4 good teams on TV tonight.
Flyers, Panthers, Capitals, Lance, 7 and 9:30 on NBCSN. By the way, officially Jeremy Roenick out at NBC.
Yeah, I was let go yesterday.
Because of his flippant comments.
Yeah, I think right now if Barstool asks you to do something, just say no.
Yeah.
Because they're great, but what they do is going to get you in trouble with your other job. I mean, they're funny. People love Barstool.
Yes.
But they're going to try to put you in a spot where you're going to be uncomfortable. And if you're truthful like Roenick was, you're going to get in trouble.
Pitchers and catchers reported yesterday for the Red Sox, for the Twins, and for the Braves. They report today in Port Charlotte for the Rays. Also, in a half an hour, the Astros will have their long-awaited press conference in which ownership, managers, players, they're all going to address what a big bunch of cheaters that they are. Do just want to plug Mark. We're going to be off Friday and Monday, so a big 4-day break for us, but also a big 4-day weekend here on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. FGCU and Kennesaw State tonight. FGCU Tulane baseball tomorrow to begin their season, and then FGCU Lipscomb a doubleheader all afternoon Saturday, and Sunday we've got the 500 beginning at 1:30.
I would just want to say Tiger Woods tees off at 2:41 today. 2:41.
And the Chubb Classic, of course, gets underway beginning tomorrow at the Lely Resort, and why don't you go check it out? It's we think it's the best regular season Champions Tour event of the year.
And so does Bob Papa.
Yeah.
Said it right on the show. So the players feel it's the best thing out there that's not a major. Great show today. We'll enjoy our 4-day weekend. We'll be back on Tuesday. The Dan Patrick Show is next on Fox Sports Radio.